He's the Demon King 5. Bai Xiaoqin's voice may be very childish and downright innocent sounding, yet it's damning and irritating to this he Chu. Grandpa Wei. Grinding her teeth with a livid face, the lady howls out her command. Nodding at that, the senior knew what must be done. Scanning the excited demon elders, then at the Demon King's face up in the sky. As expected, the king of the demon realm is different from these rabbles. If you are willing to submit to my lady, then there will be plenty of benefits waiting for you. Cold in the voice, the senior throws out his idea of a good proposal only to be ignored like he's non-existent. Landing on the ground by jumping down from the gold dragon's back, Bai Yan directly comes before fourth elder to stuff a pill into the man's mouth. Moments later, the blood was quenched and the wounds quickly mending. Queen! The injured individual started to get emotional once the tears started to flow. You're finally back. That day it really wasn't His Majesty's intent. He was framed by another who used second elder to their advantage. We made sure the perpetrator has paid the price. Watching the grim look on the fourth elder's face, Bai Yan sighed. I know everything, that's why. I returned. Openly sobbing now. This is great. The queen is back and the king won't be so furious anymore. Only a human woman. I'm really curious on why you would become the queen of these animals. Don't tell me it's because you couldn't think things through after being discarded by another man, right? If that's the case, then it's truly a pitiful story. Finding that she's being ignored, he Chu decides to forcibly interject into their conversation by using her sarcastic words. Bang! Suddenly, a strong gush of wind sweeps over from the side from out of nowhere. She wanted to dodge out of instinct from this surprise attack, but it's already too late by then. Her body got tossed over into the air similar to a broken kite as blood sprinkled the ground like rain droplets. Miss! Senior Wei flies into a rage, his eyes spewing fire at the silvery-haired assailant. You will pay for this transgression with your life. Shrouded in his own anger, this old fella has apparently become blind to Ditsong's overwhelming and dangerous aura. In a flash, the senior has come before the great Demon King to grapple that neck using his talon-like fingers. Unfazed and unafraid, the Demon King didn't even flinch at this direct attempt at his own life. Releasing his insane power to enshroud the senior in his own force, a strange and eerie of silvery light seems to have materialized due to the intensity. Poof! None of them could catch what just happened. They only knew Senior Wei just abruptly froze in mid-action and started to bleed all over his body. It's as if innumerable swords had slashed and pierced through his body from out of nowhere. For a while there, the whole mountain was thrust into a deadly silence where even a touch of a feather could be heard. The most astounded here had to be the people brought along by he Chu, of course. They were horrified and stunned by this amazing display of power. It couldn't be helped. Senior Wei was the strongest among their group. Without him, what could they do against this Demon King? You are not from the celestial realm, Ditsong loudly proclaims. Speak, where are you people from? Third elder quivered at this notion. King, you mean to say they're not from the celestial realm? That's right, showing an evil smirk. Those cowards know very well of the demon realm's strength. They would never dare come invade so openly, let alone claim they could subdue me. Tire them to death, one. Not from the celestial realm? Everyone had to take a momentary pause to take in this astounding news. If she's not from the celestial realm, then where? Another higher realm? Loosening his arms around Bai Yan's waist, Ditsong slowly came before he Chu, who still sprawled there on the floor after his attack. It's dreadful for the lady. Not only did she suffer a severe injury by that strike, the ominous air felt suffocating in her current state like she's being pressed down by a mountain. In addition to the human world, demon world, and celestial world, there's also other worlds in between these three. Since you're no ethereal being from the underworld, it's safe to assume you're from the spirit world, or spirit realm by its official name, am I correct? Under that tyrannical gaze, he Chu instinctively wanted to squirm away. You! How did you know that? The spirit realm was located at the outermost edge of the demon realm. It's also the main channel to the other realms like the human world. Due to the fact that the various realms were sealed and cut off from one another 1,000 years ago, the spirit realm was also left in seclusion during long period of isolation. Hence the reason why the demon elders didn't realize this fact. But now that the barrier separating the various worlds has been shattered at the hands of Ditsong's will, everything was quickly coming undone and returning to its original state from eons ago. I've said it already. Those cowards from the celestial realm doesn't have the guts to come make trouble for me. Feeling the man's violent aura coming down above now that they're only inches apart, Xianxia starts flustering in a panic. Someone quick, save me! The old followers that came with the lady trembled at the thought of confronting this menacing foe. Even so, they are the girl's guardian and would carry out their duties as needed. With a stern heart, they force themselves to move forward. Have you asked for my opinion in making trouble for my man? Bai Yan's hand caresses her son's head. She suddenly chuckles and interrupts the moment. You are nothing but a monarch rank. Do you think you can stop us? One of the seniors snaps at her. I can't, but they can. Pointing to the members of the Demon Council, her face showed confidence in them. Infuriated by this mockery, don't think just because Senior Wei is dead that you can insult us like so. They are nothing but beaten dogs that lost to us. In the world of demons, they are only afraid of Song. As for everyone else, they don't even consider them a target. Ignoring the rude remark, Bai Yan comes before the fourth elder again and tosses over a storage bag. This is... Fourth elder made a surprised and confused face after inspecting the content. Smiling, these Dan pills are something I made while staying at the Misty Fairy House. They're called Limit Breaker Dan Pill. Take one and your physical strength will exceed your original limits. For example, fourth elder, you are currently at the upper level of the monarch rank, am I correct? With this you will be able to have the arm strength equal to a celestial rank. Hiss. A pour of gasping sounds washed over these people. Their looks filled with disbelief when facing Bai Yan's gorgeous contour. A pill capable of raising one's arm strength by a whole rank? Where did she get such amazing recipes from? Bai Yan didn't do much to explain because in her view this wasn't all that amazing. Sure, it does bring the user's physical strength up by a whole rank after consumption, but this 7th grade alchemic pill doesn't truly changes one's inner power, making it somewhat superficial after the expiration period. Also, the other one in there is a type of 8th grade alchemic pill called Mending Dan Pill. You guys saw its effect earlier already when I threw one into fourth elder's mouth. It can speed up one's recovery if consumed. Tire them to death too, Bai Yan smiles devilishly. In addition to those two, there are also a couple of other pills in there. Some can help rejuvenate your internal energy, some will regrow your limbs if you must, they're all yours now. I only have one condition though. Kill these people even if you guys have to tire them to death. Fourth elder and the rest of his brothers were all showing an unbelievable level of excitement on their faces. Staring at the ones who mocked them earlier, those seniors who came to invade their home no longer looked so menacing or dangerous. Rather they have become praise in their eyes instead. My brothers, these bastards dare come make a mess of our home. For that, we will show them the price of this transgression. Yes, we need to exact revenge for the innocent lives lost at their hands. The elders frantically rushed the group of old-timers and directly stopped their act of attacking Song as well. With the effects of Bai Yan's support, the fight played out exactly as she wished. Though their strength remains inferior to the enemy, but their physical strength was up there. Besides, no injury mattered anymore aside from a direct death blow. At the same time, it's unsure where the kid managed to find a bench, but Bai Xiachen had managed to take a seat with a bottle of pills in hand. His image right now was no different from a boy currently in the theaters munching on popcorn. Talk about ridiculous. Dragoni too. As the young lass watched her friend's yummy appearance, her mouth just could resist salivating. Thankfully the little steam bun didn't act like his usual gluttonous self. Here one for you. These are snacks mother made for me, so I have a lot here. Towards the opposite sex around his age, Bai Xiachen had always been very generous, especially when his lifelong dream was to get a lovely little sister. Thank you, Your Highness. All smiles in the eye, Dragoni happily sat down on the bench with the boy while they watched the show play it. The old seniors were getting more and more desperate as the situation dragged out right now. Ignoring the fact that the demon elders has a huge advantage due to the stash of replenishments lying around, the arm strength has either become on par with their own or even surpassed some of them. At the rate they're going, it's just a matter of time before they fall. Miss, we really can't hold on anymore. A yellowed-robed senior makes a bitter smile. Like her subordinates, Xianxia was also showing despair on the face. How can this woman come up with so many powerful Dan pills? And her son and the little maid is able to use them as snacks? This is ridiculous. Even back in the spirit realm, most of the people of power would break their heads for a single one. Don't stop, keep fighting. Jumping up from his bench as soon as he saw the foe ready to make a run for it, Bai Xiachen forks those tiny arms around his waist like a bratty child. These bad people wanted to make my baddie father his pet and disperse our family. They are not allowed to leave. As the little prince of the demon world, his words held a lot of weight. Therefore, Fourth Elder and his brothers didn't stop their attacks at all and increased the intensity even. Tire them to death. 3. No matter how strong a cultivator was, they're no different from an average martial artist once their internal energies has been exhausted. And sure enough, the weaker guards that came with Xianxia were the first to fall after they depleted their strength. Poof! Finally, after a few more rounds of exchanges, one of the seniors eventually succumbed to Fourth Elder's blade. Piercing right through the person's chest, blood dyed the senior's clothing as he fell lifelessly out of the sky and onto the ground. Aside from the eerie thud made by the impacting flesh, there's nothing else, not even a scream or cry for help. Run! The other old fellas wanted to flee as soon as they saw the worsening situation. Unfortunately for them though, Fourth Elder and his brothers weren't going to let them escape since they're well prepared for this outcome. As soon as they made a turn, the demon elders had already formed an encircling formation, blocking their path of escape. Want to run? Didn't you people claim you're going to make our king into your Mrs. Pet? What now? Why run? In that instant the old seniors were all ghostly white upon recognizing their predicament. With no path left for escape, their eyes inexplicably fell upon the demon mountain where it remains unguarded. Perhaps this demon mountain is our only chance of survival. Not going to think it through since the last wisp of hope now lies before their very eyes, these old-timers didn't hesitate and rushed for their impending doom without realizing it. Fourth Elder and his brothers didn't chase them at this point, of course. Crossing their arms around their chest, these people were quite happy to see the enemy running up the hill. This is your own fault. Fourth Elder smirks sarcastically at the group. As if they will live after stepping into the demon mountain? Exactly at the same time as his words came forward, a loud bird cry rang out from the mountain while a beam of flaming heat bursts upward to enshroud the entire landscape. In the midst of the flames, a huge vermilion bird spans her wings to rise up into the sky, causing the temperature to reach a hellish level. Towards this sudden twist of event, the trespassers only felt horror and disbelief. It's over. For a time, this thought was all that was inside the group's head. They wanted to flee for their lives at this incredible enemy, but their legs wouldn't budge. In fact, the area around their crotch had become wet due to the urine coming out of their private parts. What came next was devastating for those suffering the brunt of that heat wave. Suzaku didn't hold anything back with her powers. Fanning out her wings again, it only took a mere moment before her flames blew over to completely incinerate the foes. Xianxia was absolutely stunned by this overwhelming display of force. The sole reason she survived and didn't die along with her subordinates was the fact that they abandoned her when they fled up the hill. And now, she's alone and without help. Queen! Coming back to attention, old Madame Huang was the first to break the mood with her outcry. Emotional in the face. My granddaughter, is Xueqi with you? Turning to face the granny, Bai Yan answers with a frank tone. She's fine, you don't have to worry. I left Little Rice and Xueqi back in the human world so they're very safe right now. I will pick them up later once this is over. Tire them to death. 5. Queen, you're finally back. Breaking out into a chuckle, Bai Yan just couldn't resist after seeing that funny picture of Suzaku acting like a wife that's been left behind. Yes, Suzaku, I'm back now. I've also found Azure Dragon now, so there's only Black Turtle left who's missing. Really? Suzaku's eyes lit up, her smile dauntingly bright. It looks like I'm one step closer from leaving this mountain now. But Queen, is Azure Dragon well? After a momentary pause of musing, Bai Yan decides to keep the fact that their friend Azure Dragon has now been reborn as a female. It couldn't be helped, she's afraid this bird wouldn't be able to take the news and faint on the spot. Don't worry, Azure Dragon is fine. That's good then, heaving a long sigh of relief. Queen, I need to bring you to meet 2 people. Blinking her eyes at first, Bai Yan was taken aback by the suddenness of this request. However, towards that serious face, she couldn't refuse. Making a slight nod. All right, lead the way. Come Dragoni, we'll go and watch too. Tagging along with the little lass in hand, Bai Xiaochen led his partner up the demon mountain using those small little feet of his. Taking this all in from behind, Fourth Elder was rather puzzled and confused by the little prince's behavior. When did His Highness have such a good relationship with the little dragon girl? If I remember correctly, wasn't he afraid of getting anywhere near her after she kissed him on the cheek that one time? I guess children will always be children. They will forget something after a short period of time. Even from afar, Bai Yan could already hear the wailing cries of Jun Ruching as well as another male and female howling out in pain. It's eerie and creepy to the ear. Note: Jun Ruching is the foxwoman who attempted to steal the queen position from Bai Yan and the first to be imprisoned inside this burning flame. What did the other two do? But before she could ask that question aloud, the answer had already presented itself before her very eyes. Inside the burning flame, the unknown woman's face and body had become transparently white due to the continuous torture. Despite this fact, her soul continues to persist after so long. As for the male that's also inside, that face looked ordinary and simple. However, that aura told Bai Yan exactly who this person was. Is he the man posing as Ditsong? A burning hatred ignites out of the woman's pupil, her glaring eye locking onto the two perpetrators that nearly ruined her family. That's right, Suzaku's complexion darkens as her voice turned cold. This is all state teacher's fault. He made this person and hid the fact from His Majesty. That's why there is the misunderstanding. As for the other female, she's a woman who's in fancies the king and the one who instructed this guy to frame the king. And, pausing for a moment, she's the one who ordered the palace guards to hunt you down. It's her. Truth was Suzaku felt very guilty regarding the whole fiasco. The first reason being Little Rice had come to her prior to Bai Yan's departure from the palace and asked about the possibility of someone impersonating one's aura and scent. Naturally, Suzaku denied the idea and found it ridiculous. If only I had the same ability as state teacher, then I would have known it's possible and not let things reach that point. Remove the flames for now. I want to talk to them. Bai Yan didn't bother hiding any of the negative feelings she held for these two and sternly gave the order. Okay. Retracting the flame like the obedient follower that she was, Suzaku allowed two of the three transparent souls to fall out of the air and onto the ground. Chapter 832, Tire Them to Death, 6. In light of herself gasping for air now that she's free, Qing Xue, second snake woman, only needed a glance to recognize Bai Yan's face in that moment. Somehow her face had gotten even whiter despite being nothing but a soul right now. She's back? Did His Majesty really convince her to return? But how? She shouldn't have, considering that huge misunderstanding. What's more, this human woman would never forgive the king with her personality, she just won't. You. Qing Xue's voice started to stutter, making it almost impossible for that tongue to spell out a single proper sentence. All menacing in the face, Bai Yan meets the other side's gaze. What, surprised to see me? Or are you surprised by the fact that I would return so soon? Tightly biting down on her lower lip, Qing Xue's body trembled incessantly under that light battering of the mountain breeze. No need to fret. I'll tell you. It's actually quite simple in fact. Slowly coming up to the snake demoness, I was indeed very angry that day and didn't think things through. Adding in the fact that I got no explanation from Ditsong that month, I left without a second thought. But you forgot something important, and that is his feelings for me. In order to keep me safe, my man had secretly given me a protection talisman to keep me out of danger. If that's the case, why would he try to kill me when he's so desperate to protect me? Bai Yan couldn't deny the fact that she and Ditsong's time together was too short, making it easy for others to shake their foundation. But not anymore. This time she intends to rectify that problem. So I began to think. Going over the events one at a time, I eventually found the flaws until I was certain something was wrong. Sneering in her lips now, Bai Yan stares down at the snake's soul with contempt. And when he came for me, it didn't take much for me to believe his words. Well, explanation was honestly not needed back then. Issue was Bai Yan wanted Ditsong to learn from the mistake of keeping so many secrets to himself, hence the reason why she stringed him along with various terms and such. Qing Xue had gone stiff at the knowledge. Slowly closing her pained eyes, bitterness gripped that voice. Why? Why did you show up? You are clearly just a human. Why do you get to keep the king to yourself? Lowering her momentum at the question, Bai Yan happily obliged her. Want to know why? No problem. I'll tell you. I'm with Ditsong not because of some prophecy you demons made up, nor did I marry him for the sake of my son, but rather for the fact that it's him. I love him and that's why I'm staying with him. That's right, that's all the reason I need. I'm with him because I love him. If you had only went after me then I might have given you a quick ending, but because you went after my son. Raising a smirk, Bai Yan's face grew terrifyingly dark and dangerous. I will let you know what it means to experience hell itself. Popping her eyes out in horror, Xianxia stutters as she watched that beautiful face inch closer and closer. You? What do you want to do? I'm already so miserable and hurt by the one I love. What else do you want to do to me? What can be worse than having my soul burned by an ethereal flame? Suzaku, I'm finding the temperature of your flame lacking in dealing with this person. Taking out a bottle of pink powder, she readily hands it over to the phoenix. Use this. Okay. Waving her hand, the flaming cage once again imprisons the two souls and allowed Suzaku to easily pour the content inside. In that instant, a heart-wrenching scream once again rang out from within. If it said that the pain from before was 10 times the normal level, then this time it would be over 100. Worse of all, her soul's unable to be destroyed or disintegrate, making this perennially eternal damnation. Return to the Holy Land 1. No. Seeing Xianxia's agonizing pain, the man to the side instantly showed dread on the face as he pounced over to hug the woman's body in a futile attempt to help. Xianxia, what's wrong? Tightly biting his lip, those eyes was bursting with blood as he swung over to face Bai Yan. No matter how much wrong Xianxia did, she's already been punished enough. Why must you torture her like so? The more this man watched the woman whom he loved suffer, the more hatred there was in his eyes. It's so bad that this impostor had started to shake profusely due to the intense rage brewing up from within. She should have been aware of what awaited when she had you impersonate Deet Song. Slowly turning away after throwing that answer out there, Bai Yan was done here. Suzaku, we're leaving. Yes, mistress. Giving a faint nod return, the phoenix waves her hand again to intensify her flames, enshrouding the impostor as well in the newly erected fire. However, despite the intense pain, the man didn't scream or howl out in agony like before. Compared with the material pain of his flesh, the scorching torture in his heart had long dulled his senses. Right now there's only sadness and pity in his eyes when facing Xianxia. That's right. Even if this foul snake of a woman only wanted to use him for her own gains, he doesn't regret it. If he could, this person that's been used as nothing more than a substitute for another, only want what's best for this demoness. He wants her to be happy. Sadly, life and fate doesn't always pan out the way it does in the stories. Not only did his perseverance and heart not move Bai Yan or her party, it didn't move Xianxia either because this wretched snake never had him in her eyes even when things have come this far. Back over in the main gathering hall of the palace, Deet Song had just finished taking his seat on the throne. Where did State Teacher and First Elder go? Coming up to answer was Third Elder. Arching his fist in compliance. We do not know. State Teacher only left behind word that he needs to go do something important and requires the help of a celestial rank person to accompany him. That's why First Elder left with him. Important matter to do? Arching a brow, Deet Song's cold expression began to turn into a frown. I understand then. Also, go tell Second Elder and Fire Plume to crawl over to the Demon Mountain. Tell them not to come back until my wife forgives them, and if they can't. The Demon King's expression got dark and menacing to deliver what he meant despite not uttering the last bit. Third Elder began to shudder all over at this notion. He understands, the time of judgment has come for those two. If Bai Yan doesn't forgive them, well, the only outcome would either be banishment or something worse. Yes, my king. All nervous in his retreat, the Third Elder did as ordered and passed on the message to the two. Unlike the usual peace and quietness that's become norm for the Demon Mountain, a crowd of onlookers had gathered at the base to watch the unfolding event. In the middle was an old senior and a younger-looking man, both crawling on the ground with a bundle of bamboo on their back to act as weight. Even for Second Elder, who has lived a very long life considering his age, he couldn't deny this was shamefully embarrassing. Fire Plume coughs awkwardly. Second Elder, are you able to continue? Gritting his own teeth due to shame. Don't mind me, this is our fault to begin with that the queen ran away from home. That said, the pair didn't say any more useless words and focused on their arduous trek up the mountain path. Due to the long periods of lacking maintenance, the ground had long been overgrown with shrubs and thorny plants. As a result, their knees and clothes had begun to rip and bleed from the scratches installed by the greenery. For the onlookers who came to witness this event, they didn't have the courage to follow the pair up the mountain due to the fact that it's Suzaku's territory. However, this degrading image was now firmly ingrained onto their minds and became a laughingstock among the common folks of the demon realm for hundreds of years to come. Return to the Holy Land 2. Suzaku. While inside the dainty-looking bamboo cabin, Bai Yen was just in the middle of watching her son and Dragony playing out in the front yard when she overheard the commotion. What's happening outside? Why is there so much noise? Go have a look. Yes. Arching her first, the Phoenix woman left as told to investigate only to return not long afterwards. Hesitant in her voice. Queen, there are 2 people outside wanting to meet you. Looking for me. Raising a brow, Bai Yen was rather surprised by the answer. I'll go out and meet them then. Getting up from the chair, Bai Yen casually strolled out of the cabin to find 2 unexpected people quivering at her entrance. Perhaps it's the fact that they had climbed up the mountain in such an indignant manner, but those kneecaps had already been ridden with blood, thus leaving a trail behind themselves as well. What are you 2 doing? Slightly furrowing her brow, Bai Yen snaps at the 2 men. Pale in the face, second elder uncomfortably answers first. Queen, I am here to atone for my sin. That day I foolishly believed in that impostor's word and caused the misunderstanding between you and His Majesty. Everything is my fault. I am willing to bear any form of punishment you see fit. Please punish me. No, Queen, the fault is mine and not second elder's. His Majesty ordered me to bring you word of his departure in order to lift the seal, but I got careless and mishandled the mission. This is all my fault. Please punish me instead. Kneeling there with tears slobbering up his face, Fire Plume held nothing back and pulled one of the bamboo sticks out from his back. Presenting it before his queen, it's obvious he wants her to whip him with the damn thing. But words are words. When the item finally left his hand after Bai Yen picked it up, his body inherently froze over for the impending strike. Yet, nothing came of it. There's no pain or the sound of bamboo hitting his flesh, nor are there any words of scolding or curses, just an uncomfortable silence as he hung his head low. Did you suffer a lot when crawling up here? It was Bai Yen who eventually broke the awkward moment with her words. Tch, Queen. Fire Plume looks up in confusion, unsure what to make of that. In that case then your crimes have been atoned. Bai Yen has always been a person who holds a clear line on what's right and wrong, meaning she would only target those whom wishes her harm. What's more, does she even have the right to get angry at these 2 when she herself was fooled into those lies? Of course not. Fire Plume on the other hand was stiff as a rock right now despite the goodwill. This loyal subordinate of Deetsong's just couldn't believe he's going to be let off the hook this easily. In fact, this birdman has prepared for the worse. The bare minimum would be a long session of being whipped until their skin was bleeding, or at least lose half their life in the process. Getting annoyed in the face after getting no reaction from the 2. What? Do you want me to help lift you 2 up or something? Sure enough, the fierce voice finally knocked them both out of the dazed state. Jerking up in his haste, Fire Plume suddenly found himself unable to steady his legs due to the scrapes he suffered so far. Even so, he continues to force that shaky leg to remain standing in light of how awkward and funny he appears. If one had to describe his appearance, it would be like a duck squatting around after being tired out. Unable to bear this ridiculous picture, Bai Yen rolls her eyes and points to the stone stools nearby. Sit over there and rest. Once the both of you are better then go back. Return to the Holy Land 3. Moved to tears by this point, Fire Plume was filled with gratitude based on the face he was making. Queen, the great mercy you showed me today will never be forgotten. If Her Highness didn't forgive me then the king will never keep me around. If that's the case, the only outcome would be banishment from the demon realm. This matter is not yours or second elder's fault to begin with. If they can blind me to the truth then what right do I have to blame you too? Smiling on the face, Bai Yen comments bitterly. Besides, the loyalty you showed me isn't going unnoticed. Just keep being true to Deetsong in the future as you've always been. Coming down to take a seat on the stone stool now, it was second elder who spoke next. Queen, you forgiving us is your open-heartedness, but I won't forgive myself. From now here on forward, I will use my loyalty to prove my worth. Sighing at their persistence. Here, these 2 pills are for your knees. Take it and quickly heal up so you can go back down the mountain. Suzaku doesn't like being disturbed. After her saying that, Bai Yen then tosses the 2 pills over and returned to her resting spot inside the bamboo cabin. But unlike her mistress though, the Phoenix woman didn't go inside. She merely continues to stand there staring down at the 2 men like she's seeing some filthy peasant. Wham! From out of the blue, she actually kicks them both in the shin after seeing they had ingested the medicine. Lady Suzaku, gasping over the wincing pain, second elder pathetically looks at the lady in an unsure manner of what to do. When something like that happened back then, Why did you not come find me first? Gnashing her teeth, she snaps at them both. Squirming at the interrogation, the senior somehow became smaller in terms of size. It's the king. No wait, it's the imposter. He wouldn't let me tell anyone including First Elder and you Lady Suzaku. He said he didn't want the news landing in the queen's ear. Stupid. Seething at this point upon hearing that ridiculous answer. If Her Highness didn't forgive you then it wouldn't be just a kick. Since your wounds are healed now scram. I don't want to see your faces. That's no different from amnesty for the pair. Scrambling to get off their butts, Second Elder and Fireplume practically fled like a ferocious predator was behind their back. In a blink of an eye and plenty of dust cloud in their wake, the two was gone and without a trace. Going back inside once they're out of sight, Suzaku had already shed away the stern and heavy air she had, leaving only a smudge of grievance on that face. Queen, I only wanted to give them a lesson for their stupid behavior. You wouldn't blame me, would you? Turning her head with a chuckle. You are only just angry. Are you better now that it's vented? Suzaku immediately nodded, and her eyes became cautious. Queen, are you going to stay for good now that you're back? Raising a smile, Bai Yen frankly answers her. Unfortunately, I need to leave the demon realm for another trip. Don't worry, I will be back soon. Though she's still not happy that her mistress was leaving for another time, but it still warms her heart that it's a brief one and that Bai Yen would return. From the initial frown, the phoenix was now blooming a genuine smile. Queen, I can't leave the demon mountain now, but when you bring Black Turtle back then I can finally leave this place. As I did 1,000 years ago, I will accompany you to the battlefield. Seemingly recalling back to their time together, Suzaku's gaze showed yearning and hope for the glorious days they shared. Return to the Holy Land for Xianxia, Dragoni, let's go. One hand holding her son, the other holding the Missy, Bai Yen was all smiles on the face as she led them to the doorway. But mother, where are we going? Blinking his big innocent eyes, the little steam bun tilts his head as he eyed his mother. We're going to your father, she answers readily. Now that the crisis with the demon realm is over, I want to go back to the Holy Land for a trip. Back to the Holy Land. The kids' eye began to sparkle. Does that mean we're going to see Godfather and Sister Yi? I really miss them. Knocking on the boy's forehead with her knuckle, Bai Yen uses a doting yet stern voice to lecture him. How many times have I told you not to call your godfather's sister that way? If you call her Sister Yi, then it would demote her by a generation. Covering his head with both hands, Bai Xianxia sounded pitiful and wronged. But Sister Yi won't let me call her auntie, otherwise she won't make fire with me. Quickly realizing the mistake he did there, the little steam bun hurries to backpedal on his own words. You've heard me wrong, mother. I didn't say anything about fire. I just... No need to explain. She huffs at her own boy. I had assumed it was Yi who was a bad influence on you as a child, but to think my own son is bad to the bone when it comes to being an arsonist. Very well. I'm sure your grandchiefess will have plenty of things to say to you when they learn it's your own idea to burn down the treasury vaults. Mother! Making a scared and aggrieved face, the kid pulls at his own mother's sleeve as a form of pleading. Please don't tell them, I know I'm wrong. Caressing her own chin, I'll decide based on my mood. That said, Bai Yen didn't delay the trip any longer and walked for the outside while donning that cheerful smile of hers. Inside the throne hall, Ditsong continues to stare down at the uneasy-looking subjects of his. Due to that overwhelming aura that's enveloping them all, most had long been drenched in sweat purely out of reflex and not because they are worried for their lives. Then suddenly, a ray of shining hope has come to save them from the uncomfortable situation. Gorgeous in her rosy red dress, the Demon King didn't need any form of urging to fly over to sweep this woman into his embrace. How come you're here? Didn't I tell you to rest at the Demon Mountain while I finish up here? Gentle as ever in his tone, Ditsong never ceases to amaze his subordinates on how quickly his attitude could change when presented with their queen. Actually, I've come to tell you something. I need to go back to the Holy Land for a while. Clearly unwilling based on the initial frown, the great Demon King nevertheless relented and raised a brilliant smirk like he's thought of something devious. Okay, I will accompany you. No need. Shaking her head, Bai Yen blankly refuses the offer. I'll be back real quick. You don't need to deliberately come with me. I'm sure there's still a lot of things for you to take care of here. In that moment, Bai Yan's brain unconsciously recalled back to the message the Lord of the Holy Land left her prior to her initial departure. And now, She and Di Tsong's strength has become too far apart. In order to keep up with him, Bai Yan must improve if she wishes to fight alongside him in the future. And to achieve that, the only solution would be to return to the Holy Land. Are you afraid I would fight with Xueqi Feng? The man's voice sounded all sour and jealous. Di Tsong understands very well that person holds an unusual position within his wife's heart. Mainly for the fact that Xueqi Feng was there during Bai Yan's hardest period while he himself remains out of the picture. That fact remains a threat and he didn't like it. Be the judge, one. As soon as Di Tsong's words were finished, the woman in front of him had already tiptoed that feet to sink her rosy red lips onto his. By combining two of her fingers against that chin, the picture was akin to Bai Yan taking advantage of her man and not the other way around like usual. An eternity later. Be good. I'll be soon, so stay here and wait for me. Despite this tone being no different than that of an owner comforting their pet, it's damn well good enough to make this wife-slave numb to his feet. Unable to refuse that request, the man's voice falls into a whisper. Okay, I'll come find you after I finish my business here in the demon realm. Nodding with a smile, Bai Yan lets go and turns around. Xianxia Dragoni, we're leaving for the Holy Land now. Baddie father. Bai Xianxia suddenly runs forward to confront his old man, those eyes shining like a twinkling star. Don't forget what you promised me. I will come back after I go see Godfather and my grandchiefess. At that time, you must send me to the secret domain for training. Actually breaking out in laughter, the Demon King smiles proudly at his own boy. When have I not kept my promises to you? When you come back, I'll personally send you to the secret domain for training. Okay. That brought on a wave of smiles to the kid, making him all the more adorable at the moment. I will strive to enhance my strength until I can become Mother's wing. I will shelter her from the rain and wind. Determined and firm, those big eyes left no room for doubt because he meant it. As long as I can protect Mother, then I'm not afraid of anything, let alone some secret domain. Bai Yan had wanted to speak up to stop the situation multiple times, but when seeing how excited her son has become, she just couldn't bear to crush that hope. Perhaps able to sense his wife's mood as well, Di Tsong's next action was to wrap his hands around her shoulder in a reassuring manner. Don't worry, he won't be in any danger. He's the prince of the demon world. His responsibility is to protect his mother and sister. That's something he can't avoid. Shooting a look at her own man regarding the last bit. Where is his sister? Grinning like a sly fox that he was, Di Tsong's ambiguous voice easily gave away his scheme. We can make one any time you like. In that instant, Bai Yan's ear had directly turned a feverish red. Making a cough, this embarrassed woman didn't want to meet that yearning gaze, because if she does, she fears this perverted bastard would just rip into her clothes and carry out the deed. It's getting late already. I should leave now. Then, as if thinking of something, Bai Yan swings around again to meet his. Also, I have already forgiven Second Elder and Fire Plume. You mustn't make trouble for them. Di Tsong frowned at that. In the man's opinion, his wife wouldn't have run away from home to begin with if not for those two. However, now that Bai Yan has spoken up for them, he could only respect that decision despite the unwilling heart. Bye-bye, baddie father. Waving at his old man as they left, the little steam bun somehow seemed more receptive at having a father compared to before. He's actually bothering to do what a son does in a parting situation. Wait a minute. Turning around at the sudden call of her man again, Bai Yan makes a rather confused look. Di Tsong, is there something else you need? I'll send you. Among his proud face, there's a glint of pleading like he won't have it any other way. Okay. This time Bai Yan didn't refuse him. All smiles in the face. Why are you acting so nervous? It's not like I'm not coming back. I only want to cherish every minute I have with you. It's true he would respect her wishes and not force along, but that doesn't mean he won't take advantage of every possible second that's within reach. Be the judge, too. Quietly following behind the two females in his group, Bai Xianxia's disgruntled face showed he's frustrated and depressed. Why do I feel like I am redundant now that Mother has accepted baddie father? Swinging around to blink her curious eyes, Dragoni comes to the boy's side. Why? Because Mother would normally give me some hugs and kisses whenever possible, but now it's always baddie father tossing me aside when that happens. I'm starting to feel like I'm not his son and was picked up from the streets. Clouded in a mist of white, the Holy Land's main base was akin to a wonderland in how surreal it appears from afar. But unlike the usual serene and peaceful picture, Bai Yan was surprised to find her former home crowded with unfamiliar faces. What's going on here in the Holy Land? I've only left for a while. Why are there so many people coming to the Holy Land? Lady, aren't you here to attend the recruitment process? Why do you not know what's happening? One of the young lads nearby offers an explanation after seeing how pretty that face was. The Holy Land is going to recruit disciples again? A pang of dismay filled Bai Yan's face. Didn't we recruit people before already by sending examiners out into the world? Why are we recruiting even more? This can't be right. Did something bad happen? Mother, Bai Xiachen makes a yawn, obviously bored by the unrelated matter. I want to go see my grandchiefess and godfather. Can we go ahead first? Okay. One hand holding the boy, the other the girl, Bai Yan led the way with her children for the main gateway. Unfortunately, due to the huge numbers of attendees today, she's now forced to squeeze through the main crowd where the unexpected happens. Move aside. Suddenly, a hand reaches over from one side in an attempt to push her aside. Thankfully Bai Yan reacted in time. Pulling the little steam bun to the other side, their small little group was able to dodge the rude man's act and remain unharmed. Do you not see our fiery flame sex big lady is coming through? Idling people are to make room. Not only did the person not apologize for trying to push children and females alike, this bastard actually glared at Bai Yan upon realizing his hand had missed. Just like the demon beast sect that has submitted to Bai Xiachen, this fiery flame sect was also a second-rate power in the human world, making it only one tier lower than the three major powers. So, when most of the attendees overheard the rude and pompous outcry of the big lady from this sect has arrived, it was either a display of awe or fear. Looking over at the indicated direction as well, Bai Yan could see a young female wearing a lavishly adorned dress of red that's suited for outdoor use coming forward. Aside from this, the most eye-catching part had to be the long silvery snake wrapped around that wrist as well. It's very beautiful yet intimidating. Did you know? The big lady of the fiery flame sect, Huayun, is also a snake tamer. That silvery snake is tamed by her. Che, if that's true, then I bet even the demon beast sect would beg to have her become their disciple. Too bad this girl is the fiery flame sect's big lady. There's no way she would go become another power's disciple when she's the heir. Many among the onlooking crowd were sighing at their own misfortune. In their view, the chances of them being accepted has dropped by another notch due to another powerhouse coming to compete. Mother, that auntie is so ugly. Why is she wearing red? Only mother should wear red because only you are that beautiful. Though childish and not exceptionally loud, Bai Xiachen's little remark still drew the attention of a lot of people. Be the judge. 3. Bai Xiachen's cuddly little face was full of unhappy light when he saw that silvery snake. For such a young age, his eyes are already exuding a look of dominance. The reasoning wasn't for anything else, merely for the fact that the snakes had tried to attack him and his mother before. Definitely sensing the hostility coming its way as well, the silver snake only needed one glance to shrink its head and tongue backwards after noticing the glare. The poor thing's fearful for its life and it's done nothing wrong. Impudent! The guard from the fiery flame sect grew furious. Among the various powers out there, not many would dare act so rude while being in their presence. So when the man wanted to go over to make an example of Bai Yan and her son, it was surprisingly the lady herself who decided to step in instead. This is the Holy Land. Do not cause any trouble without my order. Huayun's not stupid enough to make a ruckus here. She may be arrogant at times, but that's always while she knew the other side was inferior to herself. As for the mother and child in front, she merely assumed they're also here for the recruitment conference, meaning there's plenty of opportunity to get even for this transgression. Come on, my cousin should be coming to pick us up, so we mustn't make him wait. Turning away, Huayun has completely missed the murderous intent that's being hidden away by Bai Yan. Undeniably, the lady's selfish act of ordering her own guard to step back was the right move, otherwise the outcome would have been a bloody one. Mother, blinking his big blue eyes with a furrowed face, Bai Xiachen turns to Bai Yan using a pleading tone. Can I go make trouble for her? Almost uncaring in the voice. No, son, remember what I taught you. Do not make trouble for those who don't trouble you, but if they do, do not let them go. The implications were simple. If they dare to offend the kid, then he's free to crush them. But since they're still not doing anything yet, he's not to harm them. By this point Huayun had already come before the main gate of the Holy Land, and just like this lady claimed, her cousin was waiting for her already at the entrance. Huayun, you're finally here. A young man calls out with a beaming smile. Losing that prideful air, the lady promptly made a shy face while being in the presence of this somewhat handsome person whom she's related to. Yes, cousin, I am here. Didn't my father already send word that I'm coming to attend the recruitment conference? If I can stand out this time, then we would become senior and juniors as well in the Holy Land. Ha ha, Lin Yahan bellows out a hearty laugh at his younger cousin's comment. Don't worry, Huiyun, your cousin, I will definitely see to it that you're able to join us in the Holy Land. Upon seeing how this big lady from the Fiery Flame sect was able to have someone on the inside, many of the crowds were showing envious looks. So she has a cousin already inside the Holy Land. Someone mutters to their partner. It would seem so. Also, I've heard that Lin Yahan isn't just some random disciple. His mentor is one of the judges for the event. Another comments from a different spot. Then wouldn't that mean this woman and her son is in trouble? They just offended Miss Huiyun. There's no way the matter would be dropped just like that. Bai Yan did not respond to those various comments. Instead, she kept her mouth shut and silently listened to their conversations until her face has turned into an ugly frown. To think there's still corruption happening in the Holy Land after I told Sherfu to clean out the cancers within here. Son, it looks like we came back at the right time. Curving her lips into a smile, Bai Yan's eye gave off a sharp glint. In any case, I better let Shifus and them know about what's happening here so they can pay better attention to the test. After making that thought, she promptly grabbed hold of the two kids' hand again and walked towards the main gate. Be the judge for. Due to Bai Yan sending word to Qiu Shu Rong, third Sherfu, and his two brothers ahead of time, the gatekeepers here already knew Bai Yan was coming thanks to the portrait they were given. Therefore, no identification was needed when she was allowed through. Why didn't this woman need a permission slip to get inside? Does she also have a backer inside the Holy Land? I think so. Otherwise, why would she dare to go against Miss Huiyun of the Fiery Flame sect? The gossiping voices continued to ring out after the group's departure. Regarding this crucial piece of information regarding Bai Yan's background, Huiyun herself did not hear it when she stopped in her tracks to speak. Cousin, did you see that woman with the two children? Lin Yahan became surprised by the sudden question and asked, What's wrong? The woman's son offended me with his filthy tongue. Cousin, I hope you can set her straight during the preliminary selection. Bitter in her voice, this lady was cold and unmerciful in those eyes. This should be easy for cousin to do since his mentor is an elder here. Don't worry, Huiyun. I will definitely help you vent that frustration out given the opportunity. Lin Yahan breaks out laughing after thinking it was some sort of huge request. If it's merely toying with a contestant, then it's simple for him. Bai Yan did not hear the scheming conversation about herself when entering the Holy Land due to the different direction she took for the Holy Island. She wanted to go see her three Shifus, and it's very likely they are there because the task of maintaining her island has fallen onto the three seniors after she left. Sure enough, the sight of the three seniors sipping tea and sitting on their chairs was soon within view. Towards this picture, she just couldn't resist a smile because it was these three who gave her all the warmth back then, and it was they who outstretched a helping hand during her most difficult time. Yan, Ran Yi, second, was the first to notice the familiar presence nearby. Lighting up in the face as he stood. You're back. His words instantly roused Xianxia, first, and Qiu Shu Rong, third, to turn around as well. Showing surprise and joy in their eyes, the two happily got up from their chairs to meet the group. Oh right. Is this little lass the one you were looking for? Puckering his lips to the side, the first brother acts like a total child despite being so old. Also, why didn't you inform us when you were leaving the Misty Fairy House? We ended up waiting there until your grandfather came to let us know. Bai Yan starts giggling hilariously at her third Sherfu's appearance. Shifus, how is your alchemy doing lately? Have the three of you been practicing the recipes I left behind last time? Xianxia, the biggest brother, suddenly shoots an apologetic look to the youngest one before throwing Qiu Shu Rong under the bus. Me and your second Sherfu have successfully refined the recipe you gave us. It's only your third Sherfu here who hasn't done so. Yes, your third Sherfu here is too stupid. Disciple, you should harshly punish him. Ran Yi adds, making sure the attention doesn't fall onto himself next. Flushing red from anger and embarrassment, Qiu Shu Rong spews fire at his two traitorous brothers. Would it kill you two old farts to not sell me out? Almost unable to keep herself together after seeing how the three troublesome old fellas are about to start a fight, Bai Yan decides to change the topic. All right, I'm not here this time to check on your alchemy. There's something else I want to say. What's the matter? For a time, all three pairs of eyes were locked onto the woman's face. I want to enter the holy domain mentioned by the Lord before. The holy domain was the equivalent of the secret domain in the demon realm. Just like all miraculous places that could help bolster one's cultivation by training in there, it's also very dangerous and one would likely not return if the enterer wasn't careful. This time, for Di Tsong's sake, for the demon realm's sake, I must take this risk. Be the judge. 5. You want to enter the holy domain? Xianxia exclaims. This matter must be discussed with the Lord before we go any further. If anything happens to you, not only will us three here be unable to live anymore, the Holy Land will also suffer a great loss. Okay, nodding at her big Shifu's concern, Bai Yan didn't want to force the matter if they are unwilling. I haven't seen him for a long time too. It's a good chance to go visit that old man. Also, I want to ask you three about another matter. Pausing for a second, she wanted to word the question correctly so they don't try to hide anything important. Why is the Holy Land recruiting more disciples? It's like so. It was Qiu Shu Rong who spoke. Sighing like it's not their wish. Things are not looking calm out in the mainland. In order to prepare for the crisis that we're sensing, all three major powers are currently recruiting people from the outside to bolster our strength. To accelerate the process quicker, we will by sending the new recruits into the mini-holy domain. More correctly speaking, the holy domain was divided into two parts. One was the mini version, or more correctly the less effective version which Bai Yan had also attended during her time here. As for the bigger one, also more commonly known as the Mirror of Life and Death, was the one which Bai Yan wants to enter this time around. And no matter whichever version one wants to enter, each individual only has one opportunity in a lifetime due to the restrictions placed on the domain. That meant if it wasn't a last resort and very urgent, the Holy Land wouldn't be sending ill-prepared new recruits into the mini version where it's very much possible to be killed if they are not talented and capable. If we're going to be sending those people into the mini domain, then we can't have any unfair corruption happening. We must make sure the test is fair and just. Caressing her chin, Bai Yan solemnly states this to her Shifus. Speaking of which, you came back just in time. The Lord wants you to be the judge for this event. Me. Bai Yan's eye began to narrow into a slit. I have no time to spare. I need to train inside the holy domain. Disciple, you mustn't be impatient. Opening the main holy domain requires time as well. Being the judge for the recruitment conference wouldn't take up much of your time anyways. Scanning the three old fellas with skeptic eyes. Why aren't you three being the judges instead? Be the judges? How silly. Only someone with issues in the brain would want such a troublesome job. All three of them thought of the exact same response, only that they didn't dare to say it aloud. Yen, we're still rough around the edges when refining that new recipe you left us. We need time to hone our skills. Ran E, second, only needed a moment to come up with a good excuse since he's the clearest of mind among the three. Then where's Chu Yifeng? If we have the young lord act as the judge, then it will cause more harm than good. Do you think those females would still care about the test? More like they would try to devour him before anything else. Then Chu Yi? If Chu Yifeng is out of the question, that younger sister of his is qualified, right? Her? Of course not. With that girl's crazy character, the whole test would likely become a huge mess at the end. Heck, if her mood is bad, she might even burn down the stage downright then and there. All in all, these old farts are convinced on making Bai Yan serve as the judge today. Face-palming herself, the poor woman here suddenly felt like she returned to the Holy Land at a wrong timing. Can I refuse? Her tone grew weak. No. You can't refuse, that's that. This time the judge must be you, and the princess can only be your aide at most. It's likely only you are able to control that lass in this entire place. A determined face, Ran E doesn't allow his student here to refuse at all. Mother, Bai Shachen suddenly tugs at his mother's sleeve with his eyes shining. I also want to be an aide. First looking at the little steam bun, then at Bai Yan's face, Dragony was also showing a hopeful face. I also want to help. We'll talk about this later. First I'll meet with the Lord and Chu Yi. Oh right, where is Chu Yifeng right now? Is here in the Holy Land? Bai Yan asks after a moment of hesitation. Almost immediately, the three seniors' faces were stiff and awkward when they sighed. Be the judge, 6. Bai Yan could already guess the answer after seeing their faces. For that, Guilt was all she had to feel for the situation because she owes that man way too much and couldn't return any of those feelings. Let us go, Xianxia first pats her shoulder with a bittersweet smile. Although we are eager to have you accept the young lord's feeling, but we also know love cannot be forced. Regardless of what you choose, us three will always support you. Shifu, overflowing with warmth in the heart, Bai Yan makes a genuine smile at their support. You three will always be my Shifu too, now and forever. Ha ha ha. Xianxia laughs aloud. What more can we ask for when you're going that far? Come, we will go see the Lord. He was just mentioning you not long ago, saying he's wondering when you will come back to see him. Inside a room, the table here was a total mess while Xueqi continued to nibble on the chicken leg in her hand. Due to this act, her mouth has become covered in fatty oil while the handsome middle-aged man across the table eyed her consciously with a pang of drunkenness in the face. Pa, did you call for Bai Yan to come back yet? Casually tossing the half-eaten bone to the floor, the young girl locks onto the wine bottle in her old man's protective hand. Not missing this thieving look in his own daughter's face, Lord Chu Ran directly sends a knock on the girl's head with his knuckle and covered up the lid with a cork to stop any chances of a theft. This is something Xianxia first spent a lot of effort to get me. I have already given you a sip earlier. Don't even think about stealing the rest from your pa. Shooting a warning look, Chu Ran's face told the lass that he will knock her again if those oily fingers so much as moved an inch closer. Also, Bai Yan should be coming back within the next few days according to the elder's word. Oh! Xueqi's petite face promptly bloomed a shining grin as her eyes lit up. That's wonderful. I have to write a letter to brother so he knows when to come back. Although Bai Yan has already accepted Di Tsong to be her partner, but this troublemaker knows her older brother only needs a glance to be satisfied. Therefore, a sister must do what a sister should, and that's making opportunities whenever possible. When Chu Ran was about to comment some more, an old attendant had hurried through the door and interrupted their conversation. Cupping his fist, the senior spoke. Lord Princess, Elder Xianxia and Miss Bai Yan is here. Though everyone in the public was now aware of Xianxia and his two brothers taking in a disciple after Bai Chongfeng's birthday at the medicine sect, that still doesn't mean they know who exactly this individual was. For this personal attendant of Lord Chu Ran though, the master of the Holy Land, he's one of the few who's truly privy to this secret long before everyone else. What? She's back? So fast? Lord Chu Ran jerks up from his seat in a panic. In response to the mess on the table, this man quickly cleared it out with a wave of his sleeve and stuffed everything into the storage bag. Following that, he also brought out a clean robe to drape over his dirty clothes to cover up the stains, all the while not forgetting to take a pill to remove the drunkenness from his face. Xueqi, on the other hand, was not as clever as her old pa there. Completely unable to react to this quick movement, she was still covered in food oil and her clothes were filthy dirty like it's been run through a dumpster. Did you forget she has a phobia for cleanliness? Seeing the dull look on his own daughter, Chu Ran reminds the girl with that whispering comment to urge her to move it. Sadly, it was already too late. Just as Xueqi was about to get up from the table, Bai Yan and Xianxia had just so happened to walk through the doorway. First thing they saw was the disgusting picture of the girl's rancid appearance. Furrowing her brow, Bai Yan spoke first. It's not enough that you've polluted your own room, now you're also defiling the Lord's room? Giving the air a sniff around the girl's body as well, her mouth inexplicably lowers into a frown. Did you drink? Have you already forgotten the last time you got drunk? You almost burned down my holy island. No, it's not like this, it's my pa. Now the poor lass didn't even get to cry foul because she's been caught red-handed. Also, it's not like Chu Ran was just going to stand on one side to let his daughter drag him into this hot mess either. The father who sells his own daughter out. What did I teach you before? A lady needs to be dignified. Not only are you gobbling up meat without manner, you're also drinking. This is unacceptable. Chu Ran speaks in such a righteous manner that it's hard to rebuke his words. I only drank a. Stupefied in the face, Xueqi didn't know what to say more. What? You drank a whole pot? Chu Ran angrily points at the girl's clothing like he's accusing her of doing something criminal. How can you even try to make excuses when you drank a whole pot? To think my own daughter would be so wild when I'm not paying attention. In particular is your nerve to drink in my room. Now it's filled with the smell of alcohol. How am I supposed to sleep tonight? There's an incredible disbelief in the girl's eye as she stared at her old pa suddenly. A strong impulse of wanting to cry takes hold inside. I only took a sip. Why is Pa framing me? Bai Yan. Is there something the matter in coming to see me? Chu Ran turns to face the woman. From the original stern face he used against his own daughter, his expression now was soft and kind. This girl has always tried to hide away from me ever since I attempted to hook her up with my son. If she's not needing something, then there's no way she would come of her own. Lord, remember what you said when I came out of the mini domain? I wish to enter the main one to continue my training. May I go in? In fact, of the 4 years she spent at the Holy Land, 2 of which was spent training in that place. If not for the fact that she misses her younger brother Bai Shao dearly and went back to find him, she would have continued on to the main one right away. Chu Ran was a little surprised and perplexed by the request. You want to enter the Holy Domain? That's right. Firm in her tone, Bai Yan's face showed no sign of fear or hesitation. Sighing at this sight, Lassie, I did say you can enter the real Holy Domain, but you must understand that the danger also increases exponentially. Compared to the mini version you entered, it's hundreds of times worse. I do admit though, when there's danger and wealth usually comes hand in hand, there's no better way than enhancing your strength in this manner. Looking up to face the woman's eye, Lord Chu Ran's voice became solemn and stern. Also, the time flow inside there is unlike the outside, it's much slower. If you spend a year in there, then it's only a month out here. Are you sure you want to go through with this? Bai Yan did not answer right away because she didn't know about the fluctuating time flow. I need an answer that you are certain of. Do you really want to go in there despite all the dangers involved? Softening up in his voice on this part, the man's face was neither aggressive nor rude. Yes. All right, I will respect your choice here, but know that it will take a lot of time to open the entrance to the Holy Domain. Slowly coming up to Bai Yan to give her a pat on the shoulder, Chu Ran's tone sounded regretful. I've always treated you like my daughter-in-law, but now that you're married to someone else. No matter. You will always be my daughter. Lord! Moved by those words, Bai Yan almost couldn't hold back a trickle of tear from how moved she felt. These people here have done nothing but treat herself and her son good. Chu Ran chuckled at this image. I won't bother you with the unimportant stuff. Just know that I have always wanted a capable daughter like you. If Yi could even be half as good as you, then I won't have to be so worried all the time. Definitely hearing that last comment about herself, Chu Yi didn't even know who to cry to about her woes. Am I that unwanted? I knew it. Someone else's child will always be better than their own. That's why Pa's belittling me so much. Frame 1. Making a dry cough to lighten up the mood, Xianxia finally decides to speak. Lord, I have another matter I like to report. What's the matter? This time I want to recommend Yan Yan as the judge for this event. Do you think it's a good idea? Xianxia's proposal actually made the middle-aged lord go mute. Pondering for a while, the person turns to the woman herself. Lass, do you want to accept your Shifu's proposal? How long does it take to open the entrance to the domain? And how long is the recruitment conference? She asks with deep thoughts running through those eyes. It takes more than a month to open up a portal to the Holy Domain. That's more than enough time to finish the recruitment tests for sure. Okay. Flashing a strange light in those irises, the woman's lip had curved into a smirk for some reason. I will take over as the judge for this event. Ha ha, Chu Ran laughs and pats her shoulder again. Now I can be relieved with you as the judge. Follow Bai Yan and gain some experience. Do not stray from her side and make sure to follow her directions to point, understand? Chu Yi appeared to be very aggrieved at the moment because she still hasn't forgotten how her father just framed herself. Just when the girl wanted to cry out to defend herself, Chu Ran had already shot her a warning look. The meaning was very simple. Sell me out and you're done for. Perhaps it's how terrible that look was, but the troublemaker actually cowered for once. Shaking her head like a rocking drum, she didn't say anything like instructed. Xianxia coughs again to gain their attention. Since we're finished with what we came to ask, then we will take our leave first. I still have something to ask my student here in private. Arching his old fist, the elder pulled Bai Yan along until they are completely out of sight. Relieved at the close call, Chu Ran immediately breaks out into a grin like his own daughter does when she's done something bad. In a wave of his sleeve, the dishes that he hid away was now back on the table. Let's continue. Laughing heartily, he smoothly takes a seat to warrant a disgruntled face from the girl. Forget it, I'm going to look for Bai Yan. Wait. Seeing how quickly the lass was moving, Chu Ran promptly cried out. Remember what I told you. If you sell me out, then I'll marry you off in the coming day. I'm sure there are plenty of nice young men around with the test happening. Almost tripping over herself when listening to that ridiculous comment, this troublemaker of course wouldn't have the courage to sell her own father out. Like old like young, their similarity was uncanny. In the coming days, the private grounds of the Holy Land have become much noisier compared due to the large influx of people. In order to not allow this ruckus to disturb the disciples that's already inside training, the attendees were all gathered on the outer rim inside one courtyard for easy management. At this time, a certain lady was anxiously pacing back and forth inside a little room with her gorgeously red dress when the door was pushed open. Big cousin, what did your mentor say? Did he agree to help us? Lin Yahan sighed helplessly when facing his younger cousin. Huiyun, I'm afraid this time I won't be able to help you. In that instant, the ecstatic expression on the lady's face had frozen over. Why, cousin, your mentor's status is exceptionally high here. How come he won't help us? Or is he unwilling? Frame 2. Cousin, you misunderstood what I mean. It's not that my mentor doesn't want to help you. Rather, something unexpected has happened. The judge for the test has been changed to someone else. That individual is so mysterious that I can't even find out who it is after spending all morning asking around. Bittersweet in the face, Lin Yahan honestly thought the matter would be easily handled with his connections. Who could have thought it would make a sudden twist at the end? Upon this explanation, the lady herself wasn't looking so good either. No one knows herself better. Unlike the talented geniuses from the other sex, she herself was nothing but a fraud. What talent and ability to tame snakes! They're all boastful lies made by her own sect. For example, this silvery snake around her wrist was subdued by an elder and then handed to herself. If not for the accessories around her body that could suppress others' ability to examine her true strength, the public would have long exposed herself. Now imagine someone poking fun at her in front of the public. That's equivalent to playing with dynamite. Hence the reason she's so obsessed with removing Bai Yen. Cousin, can you help inquire about that judge then? As long as I know who that person is, then I'm sure I can get them to help me. Tightly gripping her fist, Huiyun raises her hopeful face to meet those eyes. Looking at his little cousin's pitiful appearance, the young man just couldn't help but shake his head. The Holy Land is very confidential about the identity, and my mentor doesn't even know where that person came from. Also, you would never guess, the Princess of the Holy Land will be attending the test as her aide. Huiyun was shocked by this news. If even that evil princess is only worthy of being her aide, then what kind of background does that one has? However, you don't have to worry. Aside from the mysterious judge and the princess, there are some other disciples helping them as well. As it so happens, I know one of them and have a good relationship. Through him, I can guarantee your selection. Raising those lips, Lin Yahan makes a smile he believes to be quite handsome. After all, no one person can take into account of the entire test. When none is looking, I'll make my move and have you win. Huiyun finally breathed a sigh of relief. Punching the young man's chest like a shy little maiden. Cousin, I'm so happy you thought of everything for me. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Making me all worried and stuff. By the way, do you know that woman's identity yet, the one I told you about? Feeling the soft tender hand against his own flesh, then seeing that pristinely white skin around the girl's neck that's almost showing the coveted part, Lin Yahan gulps hard. I've had my people check on her already. Don't worry, Huiyun. Your big cousin here won't let you down. Of course, I will always have confidence in you, big cousin. You have never let me down before. Hanging that head low like she's all shy and stuff. Just that I hope you can help me make that woman disappear during the selection. I don't want to meet her and her son. Ha ha ha. Laughing, Lin Yahan went ahead to begin caressing the girl's hand. Don't worry, Huiyun, I will do my best. Though I can't directly dismiss that woman due to them all having some sort of background, however. Frame 3. Slightly narrowing in his eyes, a flash of coldness flickers in the man's iris. I have a way to make that woman lose her reputation and standing. Once that's done, it will be easy to expel her from the Holy Land. By then she won't be able to compete with you anymore. Nothing but a woman, I can easily deal with her since I'm a disciple here. No one will be able to displease my little cousin here. In no time at all, 3 days had come and went just like that. For those coming to attend, they are now gathered at the venue awaiting the start of the test. Among those standing out the most had to be Huiyun due to the large entourage she gathered around herself. She exuded the air of proudness, yet cold and distant like a figure of superior status. Nevertheless, the facade on the outside could never hide the impatience on that face. "Miss." Suddenly, the maid to the lady's side speaks up. "That woman is coming." Shooting her attention over to the indicated direction, Huiyun could see the mentioned woman and two adorable-looking children. Under the glistening ray of the afternoon sun, the woman was gorgeous and mesmerizing in that rosy red dress, a true fit. Meanwhile, the little boy holding the left hand wasn't so bad either. Donning a purple robe of noble air, it's hard to imagine why such a small child could produce such strong momentum. As to the young missy that's holding the right hand, she's sweet and pretty to look at. Anyone seeing this picture would simply want to be melted away by that cuteness. This woman is finally here. Darkening in the face until it's somewhat menacing. "Do you remember what I told you before?" The maid nodded hurriedly. "Of course, milady, I remember everything very clearly." "Good." Huiyun sneers. "Cousin is right, this woman deserves to have her reputation ruined." Just as Bai Yan was in the middle of leading her two little kids up to the main stage to oversee the test, a sudden sarcastic voice had caught her ear. "Some people are really shameless nowadays. Even though they are without true skill or ability, they still want to participate in the test. And to think they would try to bribe the judges' people just so they can be selected. How can such people be so dumb to think the members of the Holy Land are that easy to be bribed?" Bai Yan's forehead immediately furrowed up as she came to a stop. Loosening her grip around the two kids' hand, she swings around to lock eyes with the owner of that voice, the maid. "Just now. Are you talking about me?" The maid scoffs, clearly unfazed by the attention. "Am I wrong? I personally saw you trying to bribe a disciple earlier. Where do you think we are? How can a member of the Holy Land be bribed by the likes of you?" "Shaoling." Not giving Bai Yan a chance to speak, Huiyun pretends to cut her own maid off by asking for more details. "What do you mean by those words?" The maid that's known as Shaoling complied just like planned. "Milady, it's like this. Earlier when I was out getting something for you, I saw this woman trying to bribe one of the Holy Land's disciple and even tried to use her own body to tempt the poor guy. Of course, I picked up the reasoning is so she can be selected during the test. I truly can't stand for such filth and refuse to let someone so low to be in the same event as you, milady. That's why I'm exposing her before the public." Frame 4. This story has been rehearsed by these two countless times already, naturally they wouldn't mess it up. Couple this with their distasteful expression, everyone around quickly fell victim to their words. "What?" Huiyun looked shocked on the face as she cupped her mouth like she's just heard the most incredible thing. Slightly shaky in her body to add weight, those eyes are unabatingly disgusted. "You? How could you do such a thing? Your sect must be ashamed of you." Many among the crowd had started to exclaim as well. In that instant, just about everyone near Bai Yan's location had pushed backwards like she's some sort of scourge and would taint them as well just by being close. Dragony didn't take this well at all when watching their negative outlook. Almost beet red from the unabated anger she felt, the little missy was ready to lash out and tear off the maid's mouth when a hand reached over to stop her. "Prince!" Looking aggrieved in the face, the young lady didn't forget to shoot a vicious glare over to the maid while speaking. Unlike his friend here, Bai Xiachen didn't get flustered at all. In fact, his foxy eyes were looking rather amused like he's scheming a plan of his own. "Don't be so impulsive, Dragony. Just wait and watch. These people want to frame Mother? They should have confirmed what sort of background we have first. You just said I bribed a disciple? Then I like to ask where that individual is. Why don't you call him out to attest to your story?" Donning a shallow smile, Bai Yan's face locks eyes with Huiyun despite the maid being the one that's calling out. Too dumb to realize her own doom was coming, the ignorant lady actually signaled her own maid to step forward. "Sir Lu, can you please come out to testify? Such a woman should not be allowed to tarnish the sanctity of the Holy Land." In that moment, a young man donning a charismatic smile had come walking down from the main stage. "Originally I didn't want to say more in this matter, after all, it's too disgraceful for everyone that's involved." The man known as Lu Han steps out to speak in a righteous way that left many unable to doubt those words. "But, since this maid has the courage to step forward for justice, I of course will also come out to testify." Slowly but surely Lu Han's eyes had fallen upon Bai Yan's face where he began to openly frown. "Lady, I know you are not talented and is anxious to be selected, but I, Lu Han, am not going to do something so underhanded by selling out my own conscience. I like to ask you to leave of your own volition lest I get someone to do so in your stead. There's hardly any smile left on the surface. In fact, it's now stern and angry. This uncle. Out of nowhere, a milky and childish voice cuts in, causing the already frowning Lu Han to look down where his eyes discovered the little steam bun at the front. Uncle, did your mother not teach you lying is bad and will make your future miserable? Lu Han's face promptly changed for the worse, turning ugly. No wonder the mother has that kind of virtue. This child is so rude. I guess what they say is true. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. The little steam bun didn't get angry though, only deepening his smile like a cunning fox. Uncle, I'm only giving you a kind reminder that bad people will get a miserable fate if they lie. If one is not lying, then naturally the idea wouldn't apply to them. What are you being so afraid of? Though smiling brightly on that face, it's somehow scary and frightening. Also, you are vilifying my mother while in front of a young child, yet I still remain polite and call you an uncle, so who is the uneducated one here? Frame 5. The crowd at the moment was extremely quiet, so quiet that they could even hear a pin drop. These people would never doubt the disciples of the Holy Land, but the child was always polite as he said. On this point, the maternal hearts among them were won with ease. After leaving this remark, Xueqi turns away to return to his mother's side, that face raising a happy-go-lucky face. I have already warned him, mother, but it doesn't look like he's heeding my words. So you don't need to be polite to him. Rubbing her boy's head at that sensible sentence, Bai Yan returns her sight to one that's known as Lu Han. I'll give you another chance. Do you stand by your words? That roused a slight change in the young man's face. What does this woman mean? But thinking back to how turbulent the Holy Land has been recently, the greediness came out on top in the end. Gritting his teeth. I never lie. To be perfectly clear, this wasn't the first time Lu Han had taken bribes. That's been done more than once in the past. The fact that he was somehow fortunate enough to avoid the cleansing a while ago showed the good days are numbers. Therefore, plans must be made for the future, and taking even more bribes was his answer. All right, the chance has been given, it was you who didn't take it. Whatever happens afterward is your own choice. Smiling darkly at this individual, Bai Yan didn't bother to hide the contempt she had in those eyes. This immediately causes Lu Han to go dumb for a second. He didn't know why, but a rippling effect was drumming at his heart, causing him to feel uncomfortably anxious. Lu Yan, a core disciple under Elder Qing Hong's mentorship, and is responsible for the weapons assignment for this test. So are the weapons the reason I tried to bribe you before? The young man nods quickly. Yes, you not only wanted me to assign you the best weapon, but also tamper with the other contestants as well. Don't look down at me. I would never do such a thing to betray the Holy Land. Anyone who enters the Holy Land had already been stripped of their belongings at the entrance. Now if they are to use any tools or weapons, it would have to be assigned to them from the authorities to ensure fairness. It's just that. Bai Yan's sudden chuckle had left everyone wondering what's so funny at the moment. And then you also said my strength is too poor, so even a godly artifact would be useless in my hands, is that right? It's true, one's power must be from within and not from some tool crafted by another. For example, a novice could never wield the true strength of a godly artifact, while a veteran master could easily wipe the floor with an opponent if they so much as have a dagger. Lu Han was now completely dumbfounded. He just realized something very off about the whole conversation. The main reason being the fact that this woman knew he's in charge of the weapons assignment. Aside from those at the heart of the Holy Land, no one else should be able to know his duties unless they are involved with the event itself. Elder Qing Hong still hasn't come yet? Go get him to come see me now. Smirking menacingly now with that frosted gaze, Bai Yan's air suddenly intensified as she gave the command. Aside from Xueqi acting as the aide, Xianxia also assigned 2 core disciples to help with the menial tasks. So, imagine Bai Yan suddenly discovering this outlandish predicament where she's being framed by the one that's supposed to be helping her. She is the mysterious Judge 1. It was then at this moment a delicate voice rears out from the back, bringing the previous noisy area into a calm silence again. What are you all doing around here? A girl wearing a yellow-colored dress appears quite annoyed and unhappy at the gathered crowd. The members of the Holy Land here today may not have met Bai Yan before due to the secretive nature of her existence, but they definitely knew who this little princess was. Sure enough, the closer bunch immediately spread apart to make a straight opening line for her entrance. No longer bothering with the confrontation, Lu Han's somewhat handsome face showed a flattering smile. Princess, Mentor Qing Hong, Elder Chong Ling, you are all come? When should we start the test? Now. Xueqi playfully arches her brow and turns toward Bai Yan's location. However, she was interrupted by Lu Han's voice again. But princess, aren't we going to wait for the judge? Showing a puzzled face. But she's already here, who else are you intending to wait for? These people are so strange. Bai Yan is clearly here already. Who else are they planning to wait for? Duh. Popping his eyes, Lu Han didn't know what to make of this. The judge is already here? How come I didn't get the message? Acting like she didn't see the shocked expression on the man, Xueqi makes a bright yet embarrassed smile at the mentioned woman. Sorry Bai Yan, I'm late. Can we start now? Originally Lu Han was still searching the crowd for the mysterious judge, but upon noticing the girl's directed gaze and Bai Yan's words from before, a terrifying notion then starts to bloom from within. That's right, he's afraid. Fearful even. It's so bad that he couldn't even move his leg and could only tremble like a nervous wreck. Mentor Qing Hong, this woman is... The middle-aged man known as Qing Hong didn't quite understand this disciple's odd question. Showing a rather frank face, he reveals the truth by nodding. She is the judge. What, you didn't know? Though light and without intention with his voice, the message was equivalent to a hammer smashing down at their hearts. The most affected had to be Hua Yun, who pushed for all this. If not for the maid next to herself, this lady who had a poisonous heart would have already collapsed to the ground. This can't be. This woman isn't here to take the test, but to judge it? No. Gripping her hand until it's an unhealthy white, one would find it difficult to comprehend the sort of emotions this girl must be experiencing. Wait a minute. Bai Yan raises a hand to stop Xueqi from pulling her up the stage. Instead she locks eye with the accuser using that dangerous smile. Didn't you say I'm under-talented? This one sentence alone was enough to leave the princess choking in the throat. She was already confused to begin with, but now she's just shocked. Under-talented? If Bai Yan is under-talented, then there won't be any talented out there in this world. Pressing closer with each drawing step, Bai Yan's appearance grew more and more dangerous from the naked eye. You said I tried to bribe you with my body in order to be selected, did you not? Mouth gaped open. Xueqi had her eyes popping. I only came a few minutes late. How did something so big happen in that short period? She is the mysterious judge, too. Forced to step back, Lu Han's forehead had now become covered in beads of sweat while his legs trembled profusely. Then, without giving the young man a chance to come up with an excuse, Xueqi's following words instantly warranted the smell of urine between his crotch. How dare you, Lu Yan? It was not easy to convince Bai Yan to act as the judge for this event. What gave you the audacity to frame her? Besides, even if every single one of you joined forces, she will still wipe the floors with you all. Yet you got the nerve to criticize her talent? Who gave you the guts? Bai Yan. As his head slowly creaked towards the woman, then down at the little steam bun, those eyes suddenly widened in unbelievable horror. Back then Lu Han only connected the dots of Bai Yan being the judge, but now Xueqi's outcry had caused him to recall many things. The main one being the name, because he's heard some rumors before prior to today's event. Like how the owner of the Holy Island was the granddaughter of Lord Bai of the Medicine, and that the person always has a lovely-looking son running around. But never in his wildest dreams did he expect to meet the pair. In fact, he's still having trouble believing his own eyes at the moment. While the young man was trying to squirm himself out of existence, the others present weren't all that much better. The crowd almost didn't want to look over in Bai Yan's direction merely for the fact that they believed those lies. It couldn't be helped. Anyone could see this woman and her son's status wasn't normal. Probably extremely high considering the fact that the Holy Land's princess would act as her aide. Princess, I know my wrong, I really know it. Fiercely banging his own head against the floor as tears flowed out of his eye. It was Lin Yahan, it was he who wanted me to do this. I'm only a helper, the real culprit is him. Lin Yahan. Tightening that forehead until it's a knot, Xueqi caresses her chin. Who is this Lin Yahan? He's also a core disciple of the Holy Land, and he's under the same mentor as me. Oh? Then that's easy, abolish him along with you before expulsion. We don't need this kind of presence in the Holy Land. Waving her hand to signal the guards, the girl's word was law and directly dictated their future. How did I do? All mischievous in the face, the girl definitely wanted to be praised. You can decide based on your judgment. That won't do. Puckering her lips, Xueqi refuses to do as she pleases. My pa told me to listen to you. If I start doing as I please, then he will definitely beat me afterwards. The girl's word couldn't be any more obvious. If she as the princess must obey Bai Yan's, well then what chance does these disciples have? Simply a word to her old pa would be enough to bring on a punishment far worse than being expelled. Hidden among the crowd was Lin Yahan at this timing. The bastard's been trying to keep a low profile while watching the entire thing unfold, but now that it's taking a turn for the worse, this guy immediately wanted to make a run for it only to be blocked off at the first step. She is the mysterious Judge 3, looming dangerous above Lin Yahan, who has now been pushed onto the ground before herself. Xueqi appeared intimidating and dangerous. I thought we had eliminated all of the corrupt variables in my home when Elder Xianxia made a cleansing last time, to think we missed a few still. The Holy Land would never allow unfairness, nor would we allow any form of fraud or bribery. Sister Yi, Bai Xiaochen takes a couple of steps forward to speak. This Lin Yahan is that bad auntie's cousin. I believe they're in on this together and the instructions are from her as well. Despite being so young and tender, the boy's face already showed a dominance akin to his old man. Falling into a panic at being called out, Huayun hurriedly turns to her own big cousin for help using those teary eyes. No, this has nothing to do with my younger cousin, Lin Yahan calls out with forced words. Everything was orchestrated by me. She has nothing to do with this and didn't know what I did. Princess, please give me a chance. The greatest punishment, even if he's exposed, would be expulsion at most. But if his cousin there gets involved, then it won't be that simple. For example, the girl's father would never let her off after she returns to the fiery flame sect. Plop. The maid that's involved had also gotten to her knees by this stage. Banging her head against the cold hard floor, blood was quickly seeping out from the forehead and staining the marbled tiles over the intense force. Everything is just like Sir Yahan says. This has nothing to do with my lady here and is our fault only. I was the one who went to him because I wanted to get even for my lady. Streaking with tears in the face, this maid carried a look of self-destruction. If I carry all of the responsibility, then at most it's just my death. But if the lady here also gets harmed, then my brother at the fiery flame sect will also be killed. Seeing how these two people are willing to take the blame off her shoulder, Huayun naturally became relieved inside. Making a pretentious face of apology. Lady, I know you have a deep misunderstanding of me, and it's true my maid is at fault this time because of my failure in disciplining her. However, I have always lived my life on a morally high standard. I hope you can stop your son from framing me. Her words were earnest and hopeful, like she's truly being wronged. So you want to stay and continue the test? Raising a smirk, Bai Yan remains unfazed at having her son being called a liar. Is that right? Huayun's not dumb, she's just foolish. Since her big cousin in the Holy Land was now screwed, it's easy to imagine what her results would be later on. But the situation wouldn't permit her to back off. If she does, then too many red flags would be raised. Yes. Nodding like she's agreeing, Bai Yan now focuses her attention to the trinket around the girl's neck. I'm fine with that. However, I need you to take off that pendant around your neck first before continuing. What? Popping her eyes in disbelief, Huayun's heart was flustered and a mess. How could she know? Miss, this pendant is a memento my mother left me before her death. Drooping her head like she's reminiscing a sad memory, the girl sure knows how to act. She told me never to take it off for her sake, otherwise it will be a disrespect to her soul. Please don't make me do something so unfilial to my deceased mother. She is the mysterious Judge 4. Under normal circumstances, the disciples of the Holy Land would only secretly take bribes or commit fraud when possible, never would they openly commit the crimes. What's more, this was happening right before everyone's eye. There's no way this woman would forcibly remove her pendant and tarnish the great name she's part of. Or so that's what Huayun believed anyways. But who's Xueqi? She's the widely recognized scourge of this world. What doesn't this troublemaker dare to do? So when the princess rudely and forcefully tore off the trinket from her neck, Huayun was honestly dumbfounded. If Bai Yan wants you to take off the pendant, then you will take it off. Why are you spouting so much nonsense for? Almost vicious in her voice, Xueqi growled like a lion. Towards this behavior, everyone present were truly at a loss for words because they're too stunned. They only knew how to show sympathy towards Huayun because none of them dares to step forward to reprimand that act. It's over, this time I'm done for. This isn't right. I heard the big lady of the Fiery Flame sect is already at the king rank, and is the most talented individual among the younger generation aside from those in the 3 power. Why is her strength only at the middle level of the earth rank? Regarding this level of cultivation, an earth rank was neither high nor low. For example, Bai Yan's former fiancé, Nangong Yi, before her arrival into this world was exactly at that rank. For a second-rate kingdom, that level of talent was already in the grounds of being called a genius among the mundane. However, this was the test for the Holy Land's admission, one of the 3 major powers of this world. There's no way such a pitiful individual would be allowed to come attend. This genius is a fake. Many murmuring voices had started to erupt among the attendees, fully aware of what this notion implies. Bai Yan speaks up again with her derisive smile. As far as I know, those coming to participate in the admission test must be at least in the upper level of the earth rank. She's not even able to meet the minimum threshold. There's no reason for her to be here, is there? Although Xianxia, first, sent the invite slips to the major schools and sects, but that doesn't mean there aren't certain requirements for those attending. First and foremost would of course be the minimum cultivation at the upper level of the earth rank. Now for one that couldn't even reach this basic standard to be standing here, that's a question many would like to get an answer for. Qing Hong, what's going on here? Seeing how Bai Yan's pressing her for an answer, Xueqi did the next best thing and threw the question over to the 2 who came with herself. She's very aggressive with that fist forked against the waist, the perfect image of an unreasonable lady who demands answer at every moment. Sweating now as well, Qing Hong responds in earnest despite his nervousness. The one who went to screen the attendees were Elder Lin Yu. Lin Yu? Who the heck is he? Xueqi asks angrily. He. Qing Hong promptly got to his knees. He's an elder who's also in charge of mentoring the students. He's in the same division as I am in. Lin Yahan is mostly learning under him when me and some of the other tutors are not around. An uproar erupts from those gathered here almost instantly. Lin Yahan himself was also shivering uncontrollably. He knows, this time he's done for along with the mentor he's been relying on so much until today. She is the mysterious judge, 5. Have him crawl over here to see me. Furrowing that brow, Xueqi's expression showed a trace of unhappiness. Then just as her people were leaving to carry that out, she stops then out of nowhere again. Wait, I changed my mind. Don't bring him to me and send him directly to Xianxia instead. Let those 3 dispose of him as they like. Yes, princess. One of the guards readily complies without any show of emotional change. They're so used to this that it has become normal for them. And you, the troublemaker points to another guard next to herself. Take this Luo Han and Lin Yahan away for later disposal. It's not enough that you bunch are committing frauds and throwing briberies around, but how dare you try to frame Bai Yan? This is your own fault for going after those who you never should. Lin Yahan had gone numb already after this twist in his own fate. Paralyzed on the ground, he closes his eyes and opens them again like he's given up. It looks like I'm unable to help my cousin this time. Princess Miss Bai Yan. Bypassing the instigators of all this, the 3rd perpetrator Lu Han started to bang his head in front of the 2 ladies. I know my wrong, I really know it now. Please spare me this one time, I'll do anything to make up for this. Spare you? Bai Yan's expression was that of contempt and ridicule towards the kowtowing man. What do you think would happen if I wasn't the judge of this test? Wouldn't your scheme have worked? Stunned for words, Lu Han couldn't refute that claim. If Bai Yan was merely an ordinary person who came to take the entrance exam, then yes, his lies would have destroyed her reputation and name. I believe I don't need to say any more on what the outcome would have been like. Using her feet, Bai Yan ruthlessly stomps down at Lu Han's head to press him firmly to the dirt like the filth that he was. It's precisely because of people like you who try to manipulate things in the shadow that the Holy Land has lost so many excellent prospects in the past. And now you want me to spare you? Whether it be the Misty Fairy House, Medicine Sect or Holy Land, they're all her home. As someone who's protective of those close to herself, Bai Yan would never allow any dangerous or negative variables to remain while under her watch. Bang! Sending a huge kick across Lu Han's face, Bai Yan's assault directly causes the man's body to start somersaulting across the air and impacting hard against a pillaring column. It's brutally painful just from looking at it, so let's not imagine how much damage it must have caused based on the blood pouring out of that mouth. And as if the first hit wasn't enough, the man was absolutely horrified when he glanced upwards to find the reddish figure of the woman floating right up to his face. He wanted to resist out of instinct to survive, but his body had already been so injured that he couldn't even budge. Pop! Flexing her fingers into a hook-like shape, Bai Yan claws down at that shoulder and made a snapping gesture. In that instant, the sound of brittle bone breaking had sent the crowd flinching. It also didn't help that the heart-lunging scream coming out of the man's throat was ear-piercingly loud. Making an example of this individual, Bai Yan then shifts her sword-like gaze over to the surrounding people. If I find another case like this among anyone here, he will be the model in which you can expect for yourself. Without so much as a warning, a beam of light shoots out of Bai Yan's fingertip and into Lu Han's stomach and straight into his dantian. That was it. The man's core was now crushed and destroyed, forever crippling him and leaving him no more than a mortal without any power. She is the mysterious judge. 6. Miss, someone among the crowd meekly raises a hand. What if someone is cheating for personal gains and is not found? Good question. Bai Yan grins at the smart individual. I most definitely won't allow any form of cheating under my supervision. However, I also know I cannot always be the judge of these examinations. In order to curb such things from happening in the future, anyone who discovers any unfair disadvantage is free to report it an elder of the Holy Land. If someone is found guilty of the crime, then the punishment will be the same as this fool right here. Of course, the complaint would have to be investigated first. If found true and the person did receive a bribe, or something just as bad, the end result wouldn't be as simple as being expelled from the Holy Land anymore. The more severe cases might even be punishment by death. The disciples that are present all shuddered at the notion of what that warning meant. They're all smart people if they're able to enter this great power. So the first thought running through their heads were to either clean up their act and cancel any plans they had prior, or to simply continue their clean hands as always for those on the righteous end. Ching Hong, Bai Yan shoots a sharp stare over to this middle-aged man who's partly responsible for the corruption. You better look after your subordinates and students from now on. Though you aren't personally involved in this case, but Lu Han and Lin Yahan are still under your watch. If there's a next time, the consequences will apply to you as well. There's a dark undertone to that voice, leaving everyone slightly rattled and nervous. As the old saying goes, when one wants to remove a weed, you don't just rip off the grass on the surface, you take out the roots. Yes. He cups his hand in compliance. Though Ching Hong himself may have kept a calm expression on the outside, but his back had already been drenched in sweat. I will not let this sort of thing happen again. My name will be on this, I promise. Good. That said, Bai Yan's attention shifts back to the foolish girl and her maid. Stirring up a smirk. Big lady of the fiery flame sect now, is it? Nearly collapsing to the ground as her muscles went numb, Huiyun had to cling as hard as she could to the maid in order to support herself. I don't want to see the people of the fiery flame sect from now on. Starting this point forward, any event organized by the Holy Land is off limits to the members of that sect. The order has already doomed the fiery flame sect. Bai Yan may not have directly issued the destruction of that power, but the other factions and schools would surely distance themselves from them. Without connection and support, it would just be a matter of time before they decline and disappear. Understanding the consequences of her own actions, Huiyun's heart grew exceptionally anxious and fearful. Tearing up in the eyes. Miss, please. Although I used some underhanded means to come to the Holy Land, I did not do anything else worthy for such harsh punishment of my school. Please have mercy and forgive us. If Father finds out the things I did here, then he will never let me off once I go back. Misery will be the least of my worry. So you're still insisting the matter of framing me is not related to you? Bai Yan could see the sympathetic faces that still siding with this lying bitch. Let me guess, the maid still has family living at the Fiery Flame sect, correct? Unfortunately for you though, finding out where her family is would be no more than a whim of mine. Whether or not they sink along with the Fiery Flame sect or leave to live a new life is their choice. But don't think for a second I will be fooled by your words or lies. Please take my uncle, one. The maid dashes over, her face full of urgency. Please save my brother. I'll tell you everything if you save my brother. Miss is the one who told me to frame you. It was her. She used my brother to threaten me, saying I must do as she says if I want my brother to be safe. That's the main reason why I took responsibility. I needed to keep my brother out from harm. You shut up. Lashing out from shameful anger, Luo Yun quickly came up to her maid and slapped the girl across the face. If you say another word, then I'll make you regret it. The maid may have blabbed the truth out in a momentary rush, but the fact that she's still dreadfully afraid of Huiyun remains true. However, The urge to save her one and only brother continues to burn strong, so she didn't relent. Becoming firm in the voice now instead of urgent panic. I did not lie. Miss have always been the type to act strong since she was young. Because of that, the talented disciples back at the Fiery Flame sect have all been executed by her long ago. So the reason she was picked to come was because we had no one else for the test. The disciples of the various forces were completely dumbfounded with shock due to the maid's outburst. For one, the biggest question surrounding why the Fiery Flame sect would send someone so weak was exactly this, because it just didn't make sense to incur the ire of the Holy Land just for one girl's whim. But now it has come out there's no other capable disciple inside that school? In that case, what would happen if the current Fiery Flame Lord dies of old age? Wouldn't they become so weak that they're inferior to a third-rate power? If you keep babbling nonsense, then I'll tear off your lip. In her fit of rage after being exposed repeatedly, Huiyun was ready to reach over to make that threat true when a disciple nearby stopped her mid-action. Why are you so angry for? Is it because the maid's word is all true? If so, why don't we listen to all of it before we continue? How about that? Xueqi's sarcastic voice timely cuts in. Go ahead, explain the matter of your brother. Don't worry, I will have someone go secure him afterwards so nothing will happen. The maid grew exalted over the happy news. From what was fear and anxiety has now been replaced with joyous hope. As long as my younger brother is safe, then I have no regret even in death. Yes, princess, the maid makes a sigh of relief before continuing. Her ladyship wanted to frame Miss Bai Yan there only because of a simple reason, that she blocked our path at the entrance, plus the part with the child's insult. Her ladyship felt humiliated, hence the reason why she had Lin Yahan frame Miss Bai Yan over there. Leaving a moment of pause, the maid somehow seemed more vicious when she bit those lips of hers. These kinds of schemes aren't her first, it has been done many times during her childhood. She's the daughter of the Fiery Flame Lord, so no one can punish her even if caught, and she used to have a younger brother. But because of the exceptional talent the young master portrayed as a child, the lady here got jealous and murdered him. Please take my uncle too. Boom! The maid's truthful words were akin to a lightning strike from above, leaving all of these unsuspecting people unable to speak due to the grim nature of the story. In order to consolidate her own position, she would kill the countless geniuses within her own sect and murder his own little brother as well? Funniest part of all was the fact that they all took this woman as a kind-hearted and gentle person. How laughable. Shut up, shut up. Shaking profusely, Huiyun's face was wrought with foul fury where even her nails had embedded themselves into her palm. Despite this fact, those bloodshot eyes remained firmly locked onto the maid's face, still like she's ready to tear her apart from limb to limb. Che, to think so much actually happened in the Fiery Flame sect. Does the Fiery Lord know about this? Xueqi laughed sarcastically as a form of mockery. Continuing to ignore the hateful eyes of her former mistress, the Fiery Lord only knows about the lady's act of killing the disciples. He doesn't know about the young master's death is done by her hands. I grew up with the miss, so I did a lot of things for her and know many which others don't. She thought of her brother as a threat, so she plotted to eliminate him before that happens. The death of the young master is equally important. If this matter is known by the Fiery Lord, then it won't just be me who dies, but also my brother. Thankfully that's no longer the case. With the promise from this Holy Land princess, my brother will have a new chance at life even if I can't be saved anymore. Bai Yan's voice comes from behind, causing the troublemaker to swing around. You call me? Blinking those big beautiful eyes, the girl asks with a tinge of confusion. Remove the remaining members of the Fiery Flame sect from here. I want them all sent back to their own school for judgment. Tell their people Huiyun wanted to kill me, and don't forget to give the details to the Fiery Lord. I'm sure he would love to know the truth about his son's death and what his daughter did to him. Now there's open panic and fear in Huiyun's frantic face. No! I don't want to go back to the Fiery Flame sect. I don't want to. But the people here aren't interested in what this murderous bitch had to say nor want. Dragging the person away as she flailed and struggled to break free, all that remains was the echoing scream of a vile banshee and her howling screeches that won't go away. The maid was of course no exception in this case. However, Xueqi did promise her the younger brother would be saved, so that's one good thing that came of this fiasco. It's not like this servant girl wanted to do all those vile crimes behind everyone's back. Rather, she's also a victim who had no other choice. Heck, this could technically be a form of relief for her as well, though not in the greatest way, but still a form of freedom. Now that everything is finished, it's now time for the formal examination test. Coming up to the main stage, Bai Yan smoothly takes her rightful seat in the main panel. The time duration for this will be half a month. Prepare yourselves, everyone. I'll be opening the main portal in a moment. Those who survive throughout the event shall be rewarded with the position of joining us in the Holy Land. But what happens to those who die? One of the attendees raises a question. There is no need to worry about that matter. The part that's being transported to the Holy Domain is only your spiritual soul. Your main body will still be here waiting for you. Though the death won't cause any permanent harm, do know that upon your return the likely result is a month on the bed if you fail. Please take my uncle 3. Getting up from her seat, Bai Yan's existence was absolutely stunning under the sun's glistening ray. The weapons have already been prepared for you all. Once you are equipped, head over to the prearranged site. Yes, ma'am. Power in their voices, the crowds of people were filled with anticipation in their eyes. Finished with the presentation, Bai Yan was the first to walk off, followed closely by the princess second. However, her eyes didn't miss the woman wearing the peachy-colored dress among the masses despite her indifferent appearance. Feng Luan, I advise you to be my woman, I will keep you safe. Laughing in a sinister manner, the man next to the peachy girl was ugly and repulsive once Bai Yan's group was out of sight. Otherwise, you might not even make it through the first day with your strength. Against this picture, Feng Luan only felt disgust and nothing more because she left the Fengqi kingdom in order to get some peace, not to be annoyed by some spoiled prick. Think of the reasoning. Her beautiful contour promptly got cold. Flinging around, she makes a turn to leave without looking back. It's already to this point, what's the use in being so proud? Nothing but a queen of some small little kingdom. How dare you not give me face? A beam of evil fires out of the disgusting pig's eye. Just you wait. I will make you surrender under my crotch willingly. Bai Yan, that woman just now. You know each other? The princess nosily gets up to ask her friend after noticing how the extra attention. Others may not be aware of this, but Bai Yan would never bother to give anyone unrelated an extra glance if they are unimportant. That's how Xueqi knew the other person must mean something. Sure enough, there's a slight reactionary smile from the woman. No, we don't. Then why are you? I may not know her, but that doesn't mean others don't. Swinging around, do you still remember my big cousin Lon Xiaoling? Blinking her pretty eyes in a clueless fashion. You mean, this woman and Xiaoling, they're related? Yes, that's right. Bai Yan narrows in her eyes as if recalling something. She's the queen of the Fengqi kingdom, and is good friends with my cousin Xiaoling. I heard he recently rejected her after she confessed. To think she would appear here of all places after leaving her home. Popping her eyes in shock, Xueqi found this news absolutely scandalous. But why? How can Xiaoling reject such a beautiful woman like her? I don't think it's like that. Perhaps it's because too many things were happening with the Lon family back then. That's why my cousin didn't accept her. He thought he doesn't deserve someone like that. But after the events at the medicine sect and how I told him to take care of the Lon family, big cousin immediately went back to find her. It's just that by then the girl was already gone and nowhere to be found. Tilting her head curiously. How come you know so much details? Grinning at the troublesome lass's question, Bai Yan frankly answers. Did you forget what my flower brothel does? If it's anything related to the 4 kingdoms, then you can be sure I will get wind of it. She then went ahead to pinch the lass's nose like the very notion of a woman's gossipy nature didn't occur within herself. Then, should we tell Xiaoling's feeling to Feng Luan? Please take my uncle for. No need, I won't intervene in other people's feelings, not to mention this needs to solved by their own hands. But, Bai Yan's lip curls into a thoughtful smile. You can go inform Xiaoling. Tell him she's here in the Holy Land. Okay, Xueqi's eyes lit up. When she spent a period of time in the kingdom of Lu Hua, the image she got of the Lon family was very good because none of them abandoned Bai Yan and her son. Perhaps it's as the old saying goes. Good people will have good fortune. Oh right. A young and handsome face appears in the princess's mind just then. Bai Yan, do you still not have word on Bai Zhao's whereabout yet? I haven't seen him for a long time. Bai Zhao. Her heart shook at the name. Clenching that hand until it's slightly trembling, Bai Yan shakes her head at the end despite the infinite worry she has for her own brother. I have sent the flower brothel and demon beast sect out to look for him after he left without a word. Though there's still no word from him, I believe he will one day return to my side once he has garnered enough strength. That teen has always wanted to rely on his own strength in order to support her, not to rely on his sister. So when he became aware of the close relationship Bai Yan had with the Holy Land, he promptly refused the offer to come. So not even you know about his whereabout. Slowly exhaling a long breath, there's a sense of disappointment in the princess's face. Not missing this picture, Bai Yan's face immediately lit up. Hurrying to grasp onto the lass's shoulder, there's joy in the woman's eye. You and my brother. Ha! Staring blankly at that hopeful face, Xueqi didn't take much time to realize what the over-the-top reaction was about. Hurrying to step backwards. Hey now, don't get the wrong idea. I'm only worried about him, nothing more. Smiling all the way into her bones, Bai Yan didn't buy that explanation one bit. Patting the lass's shoulder like a good older sister, although we weren't able to become family, but this is also a good turn of event. The princess makes a baffled face. Indeed, this time Bai Yan's misunderstanding was a serious one. It's then the little steam bun also pops his nosy head from somewhere. Grinning on the face like his mother. Sister E cares about uncle, that must mean she likes him. Perhaps it won't be long before I can start calling her auntie instead. Auntie, auntie. Always as supportive, Dragoni follows up with that word like a happy-go-lucky kid who just learned of a new word. In that instant, not even Xueqi's thick face could remain unfazed. Blushing hard. What are you saying, Xiaochen? And you, Dragoni, what are you trying to do? I and him, we're not like that. And even if we did. No wait, I'm only using a metaphor. Also I can't be your auntie. Making a naughty face, Dragoni was learning all the wrong things from the boy. Her Highness is kinder than my own mother. Even though I only call her queen, I have long considered her my mother, so you being my auntie is fine. Auntie, my uncle isn't too bad. Sure, his character may be on the cold end, but that's only to strangers and not family. Pulling at the flustered girl's hand, Bai Xiaochen starts throwing his careless words around without a care. Why don't you just take him? Wang Xiaoying's and Little Rice's whereabout 1. Bai Xiaochen. Xueqi stamps her feet in frustration. Biting those peachy lips. If you keep talking nonsense, then I will have your mother find you a wife right now. That threat immediately causes the boy's happy face to collapse. Turning to Bai Yan using those poor eyes of his. Mother, I don't want a wife. I only want to stay by your side. Breaking out into a giggle at her son's image, she rubs that small little head in soothing comfort. Go play with Dragoni for now, okay? Making a relieved exhale, Bai Xiaochen looks like he's just been saved. Tiptoeing himself, the boy smooches the woman's cheek. Bye-bye, mother. Having said this, he then quickly ran towards the front with the little missy in hand. Together, the pair of kids were out of sight and gone to do their own thing. Turning around again now that they're alone. How come I don't see Little Rice and Huang Xiaoying, Tigress? They should be here in the Holy Land last I checked. Gently tapping her lips like a lovely maiden that she was, Xueqi appears to be quite enjoying the thought of those two. Oh, they left already. Left. Bai Yan's heart actually shook with shock. How can Little Rice know my order and leave before my return? Did he run off with the girl and leave me behind? Do you know where they went? Almost urgent now in her voice, Bai Yan tries hard to hide the inner anxiety she felt. I believe they left to find you. I couldn't stop them no matter what I did. Hooking her arms around the woman's, the princess makes a happy-go-lucky smile like she just one-upped her friend. Don't worry about those two. Considering how clever Little Rice is, they will be just fine on their own. Huffing over how high maintenance they all are, Bai Yan couldn't deny the fact that her little tigerling was a smart one. All right, I will go ahead first and open the gate for the contestants. Come find me afterwards when the test is over. I want to continue training during this period. Leaving behind that comment, she then went ahead by herself because she's still slightly upset at being tricked. Half a month's time had gone and went very quickly, and naturally many of these contestants were disqualified after their defeat within the domain. At this moment, Feng Wan was currently sitting cross-legged to allow the spiritual energy in the air to enter her body. Feng Wan, I found you. Suddenly, a sinister voice from the side catches the girl's ear and interrupts her meditation. Opening those beautiful eyes of hers, Feng Wan could see it was that pervert and his goons coming over, making a disgusted look on her already frowning face. Why is it you people again? You're like haunted ghosts that just won't go away. Her voice didn't sound soft and weak like one would expect from a female, rather it's snappy and cool. To think you would last for the entire half a month, I actually thought you were knocked out early on in the test. Ha ha ha. As the pervert cackles like the filth that he was, the goons that came with him had already surrounded the girl from all sides, leaving her entirely encircled and without room for escape. Smirking now, the filth then used those disgusting fingers to pick up the girl's chin like he owned her. Be my woman, Feng Luan. If you do, then I will guarantee your Feng Qi kingdom's prosperity. Smirking derisively at this man's face, Feng Luan unabashedly swipes away that hand. Don't touch me with your dirty hands, Cheng Wei. I already have a person in my heart, so quit dreaming. Acting like he's heard some ridiculous joke, Cheng Wei's guffawing laughter rang across the forested terrain in this area. That's how little this pervert thought of that statement. Wang Xiaoying's and Little Rice's whereabout too. The man of your heart? What, you mean that Lan Xiaoling? I already know he rejected before when you confessed. Why are you being stubborn on him? Do you think the Lan family is something you can match up to? Seeing the ghastly complexion of the girl, Cheng Wei once again presses forward to loom over her. Feng Wan, the real wishful-thinking one is you. The Lan family may just be an ordinary household, but they are backed by the Holy Land and Medicine sect. Others would rather provoke a second-rate power than to provoke them, so lose that dream of yours. Gently closing her eyes, Feng Wan didn't want to and couldn't refute that claim. She loves Lan Xiaoling for his perseverance and courage he showed. So when the people of her Feng Qi kingdom prevented her from interacting with the boy, she kept doing it regardless. But now, it's as this filthy bastard says, she's not a match for him anymore. However, that doesn't mean she couldn't catch up. Feng Wan's a proud and strong woman. Just because she's no longer a match doesn't in the future she won't be. That's why she came to the Holy Land, hoping one day she would become strong enough to stand by his side after earning the qualities again. Just like before, standing by him. So what if I don't deserve him? Opening her eyes again after reminiscing those happy memories she shared with the boy, her face remains expressionless towards these filth. Even if I cannot get his heart, I will not accept you. Take one or none at all, I at least understand that truth. You're asking for it. Turning cold in the face, Cheng Wei was done playing nice. Take this woman down for me. I will let her have a taste of what it means to defy me. Yes, sir. In no time at all, many of the devilish claws were now reaching out for the woman's body in an attempt to subdue her. Towards those filthy hands that's trying to indiscriminately touch her body, Feng Wan's expression grew hard and dangerous. Scram. Boom. Fluttering up in the dress over the sudden burst of power, those goons that are in cahoots with Cheng Wei were instantly sent stumbling backwards. Step down, I'll handle her myself. Making an audible clack by closing that folding fan of his, those hands immediately thrusts forward like an eagle's claw, fully taking aim for the woman's neck in order to catch her. Facing that intense attack, Feng Wan didn't panic or back off. Instead she musters up her own energy into the fist and met the assault head-on. Cheng Wei was absolutely shocked when they made contact. Not only did he fail to overpower the other side, he in fact felt his throat getting wet from the blood trying to come up. In the end, there's a trickle of the reddish fluid leaking out of the corner of those lips. You, frowning. How can you improve this quickly? This battle wasn't the first he had with this woman, but before they only had a draw. And now she's clearly above himself. I'm not like you all. I've kept pushing myself during the entire time I've been in here while you bunch only thought about preserving your own strength. One's the queen of Immortal Kingdom, the other the young lord of a second-rate factionary power. It's obvious the latter had the better resources. But through perseverance and strong will, Feng Wan has now surpassed these bastards using not only her talent, but effort. Most likely insulted by that remark, Cheng Wei's gaze grew threatening. All of you attack with me. She's only one person. I refuse to believe she can take all of us on at the same time. Wang Xiaoying's and Little Rice's whereabout 3. Obeying his order, the group of thugs behind himself rears forward again to attack. Though vigilant and ready to fight, Feng Wan couldn't help but tense up at this setup. But then right when she's about to deflect the first blow, a blinding white light beams downward from the sky and covers them all. It looks like the time has come. We're leaving this place. Everyone immediately had this thought in mind. Though this half a month has been treacherous and full of danger from the various things lurking from within, it has also brought on many good harvests for those who didn't cower away somewhere. Of course, there are also scums like Cheng Wei who managed to make it to the end by keeping themselves away from danger, but that's few and in between. I have already given you one last chance, Feng Wan. Now don't complain since it's you who didn't cherish the opportunity. Right before he was transmitted away, Cheng Wei suddenly brought out a dagger from his waist and harshly sliced down at his own wrist. Even if death within the testing ground won't be real, nevertheless, the injuries sustained here would still transfer out to the real body. Therefore, just about every contestant that's remaining were stained with the smell of blood. It's also the direct proof of the cruelty and difficulty of this trial. All stand for the princess and judge. This was the first announcement these men and women heard after they opened their eyes again. Taking her seat with that gorgeous red dress, Bai Yan didn't waste any time to begin her speech. The test is now over, and all who manages to pass the trial is now qualified to enter the Holy Land as a disciple. Wait! Suddenly, a young man stands out among the crowd. Covering his injured wrist, that expression appeared very painful. Miss, I have something to say. Though that expression remains emotionless, Bai Yan's forehead had already wrinkled into a knot. What's the matter? Miss, I remember the rules is that the contestants aren't allowed to kill one another while inside the testing grounds. Also, we're not allowed to battle one another unless it's our designated opponent, correct? Slightly amused by the question, Bai Yan didn't refute that, only leaning her head to one side against the palm of her hand. This should have been a lazy image, but somehow her face only got more seductive under the glistening sunlight, like a beauty giving the luring eye. You're right, that's the rules we set ahead of time. Then I'm accusing this woman called Feng Wan. Cheng Wei snarls with enraged anger as he points accusingly to the girl. The only issue was whether or not it's genuine or just an act. This woman and I have crossed paths before and are on bad terms. She took advantage of this trial and attacked me while inside the testing grounds. I request that she be disqualified. After saying this, he then turns back to face Bai Yan. I hope the authorities can handle this fairly. Placing her hand down, Bai Yan straightens up herself to focus in on the said girl. Is what he said true? Emotionless and expressionless, Feng Wan answers right away. I believe the Holy Land will find out the truth. Wang Xiaoying's and Little Rice's whereabout for. In other words, she believes the Holy Land wouldn't judge a person based purely on someone else's claim alone. Smiling at the meaning behind that, Bai Yan's beauty at this moment could blind everyone's sight if she tried. If not for the fact that her identity was beyond their reach, many of the males would have loved to pursue such a woman. My words are the truth. Cheng Wei snickers sinisterly and leaked his true nature. Besides, it wasn't just me who saw what she did. There's others around as well when that happened. Am I right, everyone? Those who followed Cheng Wei didn't expect to be dragged into this situation, but now that they're being put up to it, they couldn't exactly deny it either. Nodding with one another to push themselves forward. Yes, this evil woman is the worst. She is afraid of Sir Cheng Wei's strength and the likelihood of him taking away her resources due to his exceptional talent. That's why he attacked him. One comment here, another accusation there. All of the lies are pointing towards Feng Wan being the perpetrator. Even so, the proud girl never defended herself even once, only showing a calm face like there's no waves at all in the heart. Cheng Wei himself didn't care about anything else. He only wants to know what Bai Yan was going to do next because he couldn't read her at all. Nevertheless, the insult and shame he felt from the rejection pushed him to a level of beyond help. Miss, do you know she is the former queen of the Fengqi kingdom? And she also pursued Lan Shaoling for a time, only to be rejected by him at the end. Likely wanting to gloat before the very person he's trying to ruin with that sly comment, Cheng Wei promptly turned to face the person herself. Sure enough, he could finally see panic on that indifferent face. This sort of unrecognizing woman doesn't deserve to stay in the Holy Land. She kept pestering your cousin before, so you mustn't allow such a thing to continue. Feng Wan was definitely affected by the tarnishing comments. Almost shaking there, her beautiful face was very ugly, like she's about to scream. The main reason being Bai Yan was her crush's family member. Yet she's now being exposed before the public and in such negative light. How could she remain calm? And what would this possible cousin-in-law think of herself? Bai Yan finally speaks up, causing the entire venue to quiet down instantly. How come I didn't know our Holy Land has fallen into such a state where some outsider can dictate our actions? That second even a drop of a needle could be heard. That's how deathly silent it has become over her question. Like everyone else, Cheng Wei's proud face was a chunk of solid ice. Didn't the rumors say this cousin of Lan Shaoling is very protective of her family? Why is she still able to put up with a woman who clearly got rejected? Miss, I am only doing this for the sake of you and your cousin Lan Shaoling. This Feng Luan violated the rules here and also wanted to reach out for things before her own status. I just couldn't bear such injustice and wanted to help. Almost cold in the face now, Bai Yan's voice grew somewhat stern and harsh. Whether or not she broke the rules will be decided upon our investigation, not on your words alone. If you think I will judge her purely because of your whimsical wishes, then think again. What's more, what I should do is not for you to decide or suggest. Opening of the domain, Bristleback Dragon, 1. Cheng Wei's face turned whiter by a whole shade. He did not expect Bai Yan to cover for Feng Luan after he threw the trump card he had in stock. Miss, you said not long ago that there will be no form of corruption or fraud in the Holy Land. Why are you sheltering this woman now? Clenching his fist tightly, the disgusting bastard knew he has no way out and could only press forward. Curling those lips into a smirk, Bai Yan sounded frank and unprovoked. Don't tell me. You didn't know that there are many eyes within the mini-domain? Whatever little secret you did inside there, do you think I wouldn't know? What did you say? Cheng Wei flies into a great fright. So she means all of our actions were known all along? How did this happen? For a time, this disgusting bastard could barely keep his legs from going numb. In order to stop himself from collapsing before the crowd, he reached over to firmly grabbed onto one of his goons' shoulder to keep himself upright. I'll only give you one more chance. Are you going to confess or... Plop. Cheng Wei finally lost his nerve and got onto the floor with those knees. There's sweat and there's panic all over his face. It's over. This time I am completely finished. Just like this coward, the goons that came with Cheng Wei were also kneeling there in a disorderly row. Miss, this matter isn't our fault. It's Sir Cheng Wei who ordered us to do so. Please let us go. We will never break the rules again in the future. The banging from their heads were now so great that it's almost creating a tremor around the venue. Even so, their only wish right was for a hint of mercy so they wouldn't be killed for the crime they committed. Towards how easy his so-called supporters turned on himself, Cheng Wei only felt despair and betrayed. Showing a dead face, the only thing lingering in that head was the underlying question of his own impending punishment. Bai Yan, how come I didn't know there are eyes hidden within the mini-domain? Swinging around after giving the cheaters a snarl, Xueqi tilts her head in amazement. When did you send them in without my knowledge? Shrugging with a sly face. I'm just kidding, who could have thought they would break that quickly? Kidding? Those who were guilty immediately stopped their kowtowing act and made a distraught face of horror. It's so bad that they even forgot to breath for a second. What did she just say? She was just kidding? Qing Hong, I'm sure I don't need to tell you how to handle these people. Giving a lazy stretch, Bai Yan slowly came down from the main stage and turns to the princess. Let's go ee. Both girls left without a second glance to those gobsmacked individuals whom they left behind themselves. The reason being there's someone already looming over their heads ready to dish out the punishment. Sir. Qing Hong, Cheng Wei gulps hard. But before any more excuses could be said, the cold hard words of this Holy Land elder have dropped on top of his heads. Opening of the domain, Bristleback Dragon, 2. You bunch got some nerve, eh? Not only did you people try to frame a probably disciple of the Holy Land, you also try to deceive the judge. Someone come. Take these filthy bastards away to the dungeons. I will personally see to it they pay for today's crime. Yes, Elder Qing Hong. Those who followed Qing Hong over today immediately circled around the group. They've already learned from the last time they gathered and wouldn't want anything to go wrong during the arrest. After leaving the gathering behind, Bai Yan didn't even need to step onto the Holy Island before her eyes fell upon her big Shifu Xianxia waiting at the doorway. Slightly wrinkling her brows. Big Shifu, why are you waiting at my cabin? Is the examination test over? Xianxia asks with a meaningful light in those old eyes. Giving a gentle nod of affirmation. Yes, Shifu, I've just finished over there. That's great. The senior issues a long sigh. The Lord tasked me to come tell you that the portal to the main domain is now open and ready for use. But before you head out, I must remind you the real holy domain is vastly more dangerous than the mini one you experienced before. Do be careful. In actual fact, not even Zhang Qi himself knew what exactly lies within that mysterious place. The only thing he does know though was how everyone who enters it would die each and every single time. 10 out of 10, all of them never returned aside from being a corpse. I see. Bai Yan's face lit up, her hand patting the concerned old senior in assurance. Don't worry, I'll be all right, so don't fret too much. During this period while I'm away, do make sure to practice your alchemy. I don't want to see any slacking. Otherwise, narrowing her eyes into a slit, Bai Yan's iris grew somehow dangerous and threatening. Making an awkward laugh in return, Xianxia coughs twice to clear his own throat. Don't look down at your Shifu here so much, only your third Shifu is a slacker. Needing no more words, Bai Yan was pretty much finished here as well and turned away for the Lord's living quarter. Towards the departing back of that reddish figure, Xueqi couldn't stop making a worried face. Grandpa Xianxia, is she really going to be all right? I don't understand why Pa would agree to having her enter such a dangerous place. Unable to hide his own worries as well, the Lord said it before perhaps. She will be the only one to come out of there alive. We must believe in Yan because her existence is a miracle in it itself. Ever since the three of them brothers picked up this lass from the outside, he already knew the girl wouldn't be average. A souring dragon, that's his opinion of Bai Yan's future. Biting her lower lip. If Bai Yan really don't come back, then I will cut off my connection with Pa. Me and brother will leave this place and never return. That'll show him for letting Bai Yan know about the main holy domain and letting her go in. Xianxia makes a long heavy sigh at the princess's willful remark. Although his words showed trust and confidence, but that old heart of his also didn't want the only disciple he had to leave for such a dangerous place either. This is Yan's own choice. We cannot get in the way of this child's decision. Making a bittersweet face. Come princess, it shouldn't be that long before she comes back out anyway, so let's go over to the Lord's place and wait. Unlike the real world, the time frame inside the holy domain moves at an expedited pace. 1 month out here would equal to 1 year inside. Opening of the domain, bristleback dragon, 3. Xueqi nods in good behavior. Then I'll go find Xiaochen instead. I need to take care of him while Bai Yan is gone during this period. Xianxia nearly turned green upon hearing what this troublemaker intends to do. Hurrying to grab onto that shoulder before she runs off. This, you don't need to worry about. Qiu Shurong 3rd and Ran Yi 2nd will take care of him. Giving the boy to this one who torched the treasury vault? If they did that, then the entire Holy Land would be destroyed in no time. Thankfully, this princess didn't have much of a brain when it comes to these matters. After getting pulled by the pushy senior a few times, she ended up going with him anyways. Over in the peach blossom forest, Lord Chu Ran and the other elders were busy discussing something when they saw the reddishly fine figure walking over to their spot. You here, Bai Yan? Stopping before this middle-aged man who nearly became her father-in-law. Yes, Lord, I came after getting the message from my Shifu. You say the portal to the holy domain is open? You've heard right, Chu Ran answers right away despite the tight furrowing forehead he showed at what's further ahead. This is my last reminder to you, Bai Yan. Unlike the mini-domain where one can be transferred back after they die in there, this one won't give you a second chance. Are you certain you want to go inside? Riches comes with danger. I am never one to cower before the risk. She stays firm in her decision. So what if it's dangerous? I have never been one to back down when the challenge comes knocking. Haha. Lord Chu Ran laughs wildly, patting the girl's shoulder. His face shows a strong level of admiration, as expected of the one whom I believed in all those years ago. You will be the one to come out of there. I believe you will. Bai Yan also smiled at this trust. Lord, I want to ask you a favor before I head inside. During this time while I'm not around, please look after my son. I don't dash, cutting her before she could finish. Don't worry. I've always regarded Xiaochen as my grandson, so no one will make trouble for him here in the Holy Land. Patting his chest in reassurance, he made promises without a second thought to the idea. In light of the agreement, Bai Yan only showed a perplexed face. What she really meant was to keep her son out of trouble and not to let him start a fire again, not to be protected. Besides, she would be happy if he could not go provoking others while she's not looking. That's all she wants. Another note, you must not let Yi look after Xiaochen. This is very important. This was an act of insurance. If those two get together, then the Holy Land would become a pile of rubbles by the time she comes out. I understand. Chu Ran makes an understanding nod. He's the troublesome girl's father. How could he not know the sort of character the lass has? Not much ability in anything else, only super capable when it comes to making disasters happen. Then I'll go now. Leaving only that behind, Bai Yan then walked towards a shining mirror that's up ahead in measured strides. She didn't fear this portal, only a strong level of anticipation for what awaits. Lord, is this really a good idea? What if something goes wrong? One of the lower-ranked elders present turns to ask with unease in the voice. If anything happens to the lady, then Xianxia and his brothers will go crazy. Chu Ran arches his brow. Did you all forget her performance back then in the mini-domain already? That result is unlike anything I have ever seen. But it's late to do anything at this point anyways. Bai Yan had already stepped through the mirror and the shimmering white light has died down, signaling the closer of the portal. Opening of the domain, Bristleback Dragon, 4. Pausing for a moment before continuing. The longer you stay in the mini-domain, the closer the experience would become to the real deal. Otherwise, why else do you think I would risk her life? There are no other person as talented as Bai Yan in the Holy Land. Not a single one. Besides, her relatives are the lords and master of the other two major powers. No matter how strong this place was, it wouldn't be able to fend off both the medicine sect and Misty Fairy House at once. And let's not forget Xianxia and his two brothers would surely defect if that happens. Let's go. We're drinking today. No one is going home until they're drunk. Laughing hard through his belly, Lord Chu Ran strode in quick strides for the outside of the peach blossom forest. It couldn't be helped. Since that day where he nearly got caught with his own daughter drinking, Chu Ran had refrained himself from touching any more alcohol out of fear of Bai Yan seeing his dirty nature. Now for this rare chance to arrive. How could he not be a happy lord? Meanwhile, the elders in the background were all exchanging various looks of disbelief with one another. To think the reason why the Lord would have us accelerate the portal's opening by half a month is because he wants to drink while she's gone. I really don't understand why he's so afraid of the lassie. Che, a simple answer like that and you still don't know? Look at Xianxia and those other two. See how indulgent they are of her? Sure, Bai Yan is a disciple of the Holy Land. But who can say there will be another genius as talented as her? If the Lord is to keep the girl forever tied to us, something like face or shame means nothing. I bet you all don't know this, but the Lord wanted to take the Missy in as his daughter-in-law. It's a shame that Bai Yan chose someone else in the end. Even so, he still wants her as a goddaughter. The elder who knew the inside story couldn't help but open his mouth at this point. Truth was, if Bai Yan's identity wasn't so high and beyond his reach, this senior too would want to take in a goddaughter like that. A few more words later, the elders gathered here today also left soon afterwards for the Lord's residence. In a blink of an eye, the entire peach blossom forest was now back to his peaceful state and only the falling petals remain. At this moment Bai Yan was now standing on a weedy patch of grass. With pure blue sky, this should have been a decent picture if it wasn't marred by the countless creatures salivating before her very eyes. This is the holy domain? Sweeping her sight in a circle, Bai Yan's eye suddenly fell upon a huge monstrous beast. Dilating her eyes in great shock. Bristleback dragon? That's a bristleback dragon. Bristleback dragon. A monster from ancient times. According to the records left behind by the people of old, this race of dragons was highly recognized for its long spikes running along the back as well as the hardness in its scales. A true immortal monster of the ancient era. Shame though, every being in existence has a weakness in some way. The bristleback dragons are no different due to its poor breeding ability. As a result of this characteristic, this breed was long thought to be extinct after an unprecedented infighting among demon beasts many eons ago. Opening of the domain, Bristleback Dragon, 5. Tightly gripping her fist, Bai Yan scans the area some more and found even more ancient monsters standing around. These things should all be extinct according to her knowledge. It's no wonder no one ever made it out of the holy domain. This must be an ancient battlefield. If any ordinary person steps in here, then they would die 10 out of 10 times. Growler. Perhaps able to sense the uninvited guest coming into their home, the creatures all growled menacingly and rushed the intruder. Shit! Swinging her head around, she could already see the sharp spikes of the bristleback dragon sweeping over in an attempt to slash her apart. Under this moment of distress, Bai Yan could not care about so much anymore. Drawing her sword in haste, she uses it to block the offending attack only to discover the thorny spikes from the dragon's claw piercing right through the shiny steel that made up her sword. Now not only was her weapon severely damaged, her chest was now also pierced to some degree by the claw. However, risk also comes with opportunities. During this brief exchange, she's discovered something off about this place. Why are these creatures only at this level? According to the rumors, any demon beast able to be recorded in the old texts should be at the celestial rank or higher. Is the holy domain suppressing their powers? Squinting her eyes into a narrow slit, that lip instantly curled into a smirk despite the blood on her clothes. If that's the case, then I still have a chance. Wasting not another second, she swiftly and smoothly pulled out a bottle of medication from her storage bag. There's no need to hesitate here. Stuffing every single pill into her mouth, she allows the surge of unbridled energy to explode out of her body. Normally these pills, which was used to enhance her physical strength and endurance, could only be taken one at a time. Otherwise the side effects would be quite heavy after half an hour later. Even so, critical situations called for extreme measures, and this was that case. This time I like to see if I'm harder or you're harder. Slamming the little bottle to the floor and smashing it to pieces, Bai Yan wipes the trickle of blood from her mouth and begins her carnage. Leaping over the rest, the first target was the bristleback dragon swooping down from above like a lightning bolt. She didn't get penetrated by the thorny spikes like others would come to expect of this full-on charge. Instead, her hands reached downwards after landing on the dragon's back and forcefully ripped one of the damn things off, skin and all, before tossing it down to the mob of monsters. Just like the weakness of having low fertility, the thorny spikes were the dragon's greatest weapon but also its lethal weakness during combat. Sure, the scales are harder than metal and the spikes are sharper than a blade, but they're still attacked to skin and flesh. If one had the arm strength, then ripping these blades off like one would scale a porcupine. It's no different. Of course, not everyone could achieve such a grand feat of overcoming one of the greatest monsters of the ancient era. Otherwise this breed of dragons wouldn't be called an immortal monster back in the day. Opening of the domain, bristleback dragon, 6. Swoosh. Hit by the sharp bristle that came falling down, one of the monsters instantly died under his own pool of blood right then and there. Even so, the rest of the creatures did not stop nor care for their fallen comrade. They kept pushing for the woman who's still clinging hard for her dear life. Irritated and annoyed as well, the bristleback dragon wasn't just going to take that transgression lying down either. Barrel rolling left and right, it wanted to fling the unwanted passenger off from itself by using the intense force of its own maneuvers. Unfortunately for this ancient predator, Bai Yan did not let go and instead used the thorny bristles on its back as a form of projectile. In no time at all, countless corpses were left in their wake as they flew erratically across the sky. A while later, the fighting has come to a halt. Littered with the dead bodies of the monsters that couldn't fly, only one dragon remains after Bai Yan dismounted to rest next to a small tree. Strange. Half an hour has passed already. According to my calculation, I should be taking a sharp pain to my head by now after killing all these monsters. Why is there no reaction at all? Is it because this is the holy domain? That the side effects are removed thanks to the restrictions placed in this world? This speculation delighted Bai Yan's heart. Showing a happy face, she turns to the bareback dragon who was moping nearby after experiencing that inhumane torture. What, you don't want to live too? The expression of the survivor looks like it's very much aggrieved by the maltreatment. Not only has his back been completely plucked bare by this point, the poor thing actually wailed after seeing its own reflection from the puddle of tear it created by itself. Unable to take this trauma, the dragon made a direct run for the forest and was soon out of view. Bai Yan herself did not chase though. No matter what the intent was, she did survive this encounter thanks to the fella's thorny spikes. With nothing else to do now, she began to pick up the prized loot scattered around the area. But after removing of the quills from a body, Bai Yan actually discovered something inside one of the bodies. It was a golden-colored core. In that instant not even she could remain indifferent. Is this what I think it is? According to hearsay, ancient monsters are able to condense their essence into a core once they're matured enough. Is this shiny core it? Elated to find such a precious treasure, Bai Yan wanted to store this thing away for future use only to have the thing melt away under a blinding light before shooting into her Dantian area. Without warning, her internal energy started to swell up. Understanding what just happened after a momentary daze, she didn't want to waste a single chance. Moving fast, her skills in dissecting lifeless bodies just went up by leaps and bounds today. Though Bai Yan did advance into the middle level of the monarch rank with 20 gold monster cores by doing this. But to reach the advanced stage would still require her own efforts in consolidation the newfound energy inside. Sitting crossed-legged right now to digest the sudden influx of strength, she had just finished exhaling the last bit of polluted air from her system when a burst of rumbling sound came from the front. Looking over, she tightly dilates her eyes at the countless monsters trampling over and raising up a storm of dust. It seems this big holy domain is similar to the mini one. After killing a group, it would bring in the more powerful hordes of monsters. No matter, they're going to be my nutrient in improving my own strength. Unlike the tense atmosphere she portrayed on the first encounter after entering the portal, there's only a smile on that anticipating face. To put it bluntly, it's the look of a hungry wolf staring at its next meal. 3 months, 3 months later. On this sunny day, Xueqi was currently sitting on a granite rock not far away from where his mother disappeared off into the mirror. How come mother still hasn't come out of that place yet? It's been over 3 months already. I miss her. Pouting with his chin leaning against those hands, it's obvious he's very much bored based on that lifeless face. This was the first time the child's been away from Bai Yan for so long, so this was a new experience for him. Prince! It's then a young female head pops out from one side. Smiling in the face. Guess what? I found a fun place nearby. Want to go have a look together? We can explore it and maybe find something nice. I don't want to go dragony, shaking his depressed head. Xueqi firmly plops his whole body down onto the rock to show how much of a sloth he was acting. I want to wait for mother to come out, so I'm not going. The little dragoness was rather perplexed by this rejection. Biting those fingernails. Why is His Highness acting so rejected? It's only been a few months. What's so depressing about this? It's not that Dragoni was being inconsiderate in having this thought pattern. She's been without a proper mother all her life due to the limited mental capacity she was born with. Therefore the very idea of a child always being with the parent didn't even strike her. Then I'll wait here with you, Prince. We will wait for Her Highness to come out together. Raising a lovely smile, the Missy takes a seat without asking for permission. Boom! From out of the blue, a land-shaking tremor rocks the entire peach blossom forest and causes the two kids to tumble right off of the rock. As the only male here without a single adult, Xueqi instinctively did the right thing and reacted like any boy should do. He used himself as a cushion for the girl so she wouldn't get hurt from the fall. Just that when he turned his head around after coming back to his senses to check on the mirror again, he was horrified to find it cracking. In his haste, the boy couldn't think of anything else. Pushing himself up from the floor, he makes a hard dash over towards the mirror while making a painful scream for it to stop whatever it was doing. Sadly, before those tiny feet had even taken a few steps over, the entire mirror suddenly shatters into hundreds of tiny shards. Mother! Please come out. Please come back out. He plops down onto the grass and didn't know what to do next. Dragoni reacted the slowest here, but she's not blind. Realizing what just happened and what it meant, huge trickles of tears immediately came pouring out of those eye sockets. The mirror shattered. Her Highness. She's never coming back? No. Her Highness can't leave like this. She can't. Due to the huge commotion of this incident, it didn't take long for the rest of the Holy Land to be alarmed. By the time Lord Chu ran and the 3 elders came running over, all they saw was the painful cries of both children sitting on the ground. Xueqi, hurrying to pick up the boy, Xianxia first, asks with trembling hands, "Tell Grandchifu here what happened." Though most of the tears had stopped, Xueqi was still red in the eyes due to all the crying. Almost a murmur in how low that voice was. The mirror, the portal, it shattered. Chu Ran looked horrified over the answer. Quickly reaching down to examine the shards, the man kept muttering to himself in disbelief. How can this be? Why did it shatter? What exactly happened inside the holy domain? Lord, what is going to happen now that the mirror is gone? 3 months, too. Xianxia honestly didn't want to hear the answer to his own question there, but he knew there's no running away from the truth. If the mirror portal is destroyed, then those inside will forever be trapped inside the holy domain. Boom! All 3 of these old fellas were shuddering hard in their old hearts. Stiff as a rock, their faces all showed despair. Yen Yen won't return. She will never come back? No! Clasping his head in horrific pain, Qiu Shu Rong's mournful cry brought on a wave of disturbing air around this once serene forest. A brief moment later, this third brother suddenly dashes over to the Lord in a flash and gripped onto that collar. His old eyes were filled with blood and anger, making him look somewhat ferocious. Why did you tell her about the real holy domain? Why did you agree to let her in there? Return my student to me. Return my disciple. If it was the past, then Chu Ran would not allow these old fellas to treat him like so. However, this whole situation was mainly caused by himself. Covered in a shroud of gloom, the man also felt extreme pain due to his own astonishing misjudgment. "I'm sorry, I didn't know things would turn out this way." That voice carried a strong sense of regret and guilt. Letting go of that collar, Xueqi once again got on the ground with those hands around his head. The muffled sobbing voice said it all on what he's feeling and how distraught this old senior was inside. "Mother!" Bai Xiachen pushes Xianxi's hand away and ran back over to the mirror shards. Those eyes were dull and without thought as he stared at the pile. "Didn't you say you will never leave me? Please, mother, I promise I'll be good from now on, so please, I'm begging you, mother. You can't leave me and Batty father behind." The kid's voice sounded dreadfully painful and sorrowful, yet there's also something else mixed into that sound which causes everyone around to stop what they're doing and look over. It's unsure what it was, but that relatively weak and thin stature was menacing to look at. There's a thin layer of black aura oozing out of the boy and it's making them all very uncomfortable. Xiachen. Greatly scared by this picture, Xianxia flies over to examine the child's condition. "Don't scare your grandchifu here. Please come back to your senses. I've already lost your mother. I can't bear to lose you as well." Turning that little head in a freakish manner as if he's possessed, Bai Xiachen's voice almost had an echoing effect like there's something demonic about his entire existence. "Grandchifu, why did mother go into the holy domain?" Not quite understanding why the lad would ask something like that out of the blue, Xianxia didn't respond and just stared his eyes out in confusion. Suddenly, a sinister cackle escapes that childish mouth. "Ah yes, I remember now. Mother went in there because of that woman from the spirit realm. She wanted to get stronger so nothing like that happens again." 3 months, 3. Yes, it's because of those people from the spirit realm who came to make trouble that mother would want to get stronger. She wants to fight by Batty father's side. Because she saw how strong those people were. Despite the disturbing black aura oozing out of the boy's skin slightly calming down after those words, the bloodthirsty red light in those eyes only got deeper and more menacing. Towards this abnormal change, Xianxia and everyone else was starting to get seriously worried and panicking. To be fair, they're not overreacting or anything of that sort. The Bai Xiachen at this moment was nothing like the cute and innocent boy that they knew. It's something far darker and dangerous to the point they almost couldn't recognize him. "Xiachen, what exactly is happening to you? Please come back to your senses and not scare your grandchifu here. We're getting really scared." The kid did not answer Xianxi's plea and continued on with his hair-raising ramble. "Grandchifu, do you think those in the spirit realm deserve to die?" "Yes, they all do. They all deserve to die. Whether it be the spirit realm or celestial realm, all of them deserve to die. Yes, they all deserve death for what they've done. It's they who caused me and mother to be separated. I will tear them apart for this." "Prince." Dragoni did not get frightened off by the menacing aura and instead came right up to the boy. Firm and strong in that voice. "You are right, it's all their fault. I will also get strong and tear those people apart. They're the ones at fault for what happened to Her Highness. For this little missy, whatever Bai Xiachen says would always be right. Therefore, whether it be the celestial realm or spirit realm, they're all her enemies now and must be removed from existence. Those who caused the queen's death deserve to die." At the same time in the demon realm, Song was just in the middle of discussing something with his subordinates when his chest felt an abrupt tremor and tightening of the heart. "Sire," Fireplume exclaims after noticing the ugly expression on the demon king's face. "What's wrong?" Somewhat pale in the face, "The blood seal I placed on my son is starting to fail. Something must have happened to cause him to react so strongly. But who can make Xiachen lose control? Not good. Yen must be in danger." Brushing right past the group of demons in front of himself, nobody was able to catch Song's incredibly speed when he rushed out of the door. Inside the holy domain, Bai Yen currently stands before a huge mountainous beast with her clothes mostly ripped in all sorts of places, thus revealing some of her private bits that would instantly raise a scandal in public. What is happening? Feeling the vibration that's causing all of the trees to topple over, those brows wrinkled up at the unexpected phenomenon. Is it because I killed too many of these monsters that the holy domain is collapsing? This can't be. If so, then the domain wouldn't have allowed so many of them to fight me. Gradually growing serious in the face, she scans the area in front to get a better grasp of the situation. Everything was falling to pieces for sure at first glance. While the sky showed signs of being torn apart, the ground too was cracking and toppling everything over. This effect also applied to the body of water too. Because of how huge those waves were, it's almost a certain death if one's caught in that tsunami-like impact. Is the holy domain really crumbling apart? I must find a way out of here. Otherwise I might not ever leave again. But how? The Lord only told me the people in the past only come out after they die. He never mentioned the method of leaving on my own. Do I have to die as well? No, that can't be right. Death in this place is real. There's no resurrection like in the mini one. Growing more and more tense, Bai Yan could not mask the anxiety that's quickly creeping up from behind. The mainland's change. 1. Right now the entire holy domain looks like apocalypse has fallen onto this world. It's terrifying just to look at and life-threatening to experience. There's an urgent need for Bai Yan to leave, but she's not crazy enough to start running around without a clue or plan. Just as she's deliberating on what to do next, one of the rubbles, specifically a tree stump, had come flying over. Bang! Meeting the rubble with a palm strike, the wooden block instantly gets ripped to shred and scatters across the ground. Unfortunately, that was only the first of many tree stumps to attack her. In rapid succession, the rubbles are acting like it has a mind of its own and kept bombarding her with either boulders or tree scraps from all direction. Shielding herself with a barrier made up of her own energy. This isn't look good. I have to find a way out quickly, otherwise I won't just be trapped here from the way things are looking. I will disappear along with the holy domain. Tightly furrowing her brow, sweat now covers up her palm due to the intensifying rumble. Suddenly, the face of her own husband and son appears in the mind. Upon remembering those who are still waiting for her outside, that anxiousness transforms into conviction and strength. I will not die in a place like this. Xiachen and Ditsong is still waiting for me. I cannot meet my end in such a place alone. Then from of nowhere, the wooden pile that she was standing on suddenly collapses underneath due to a hole on the ground. As a result of this unexpected danger, she too was caught off guard and began to fall. But before the unknown darkness could consume her, a hand suddenly reaches out and grabs hold of her and pulls the woman right back up. Swinging her head around right away to see who this was, Bai Yan's face froze at the sight. It's a very familiar contour that has brought on endless warmth and protection over the years. How come you are here? She asks with a stunned look. Because you are in danger, that's why I came. Bright and warm like the burning sun, the man's smile lights up her heart just by speaking. If you want to leave the domain, then I will help you. Releasing a beam of joy in her own face, Bai Yan couldn't help but respond right away. Okay, I want to go out. Gesturing with his finger at the air, a strange light emerges from the tip as Xueqi God mutters some silent spell from his lip. Gradually, a door forms from this. Go, this door will lead you back to the outside. Nodding, Bai Yan takes a few steps forward before she swings around again to find Xueqi God already facing her with his back. Xueqi God, you. Who exactly are you? How is Chu Yifeng related to you? This man not only has the exact same face as him, but the fact that he could come and go as he pleases within the holy domain indicated they're somehow connected. She'd be a fool to believe otherwise. I cannot tell you for the time being. You will find out on your own once you reach the celestial realm. I see. Out of consideration for saving herself twice, Bai Yan won't press the matter. Slowly but with measured steps, she opens the door and leaves behind the man in the crumbling background. Losing that smile now that he's alone again, Xueqi God reveals the sadness in those calm watery eyes. I hope you will still be like this to me after you learns the truth. Closing his eyes, the picture of the woman's look of hatred slowly surfaces again, just like all those years ago. The mainland's changed too. If only she doesn't hate me, even if that means she won't remember me, it's still better that way. Slowly opening his eyes, Xueqi God's face actually seemed particularly sad and lonely at this moment. Back over in the peach blossom forest, Dragoni's tear-dropping cry continues to reverberate across this landscape with no end in sight. Xianxia, first, and the others weren't doing so well either. Their faces were all full of sadness. What are you all doing here? This abrupt intrusion of familiarity instantly catches their attention. It's a woman wearing a beautiful red dress. Though some parts are obviously torn and hurriedly mended with some threads, it still couldn't ruin that magnificent contour. Mother! Bai Yan was just in the middle of making a confused and surprised face at the group when the small little lump of tender flesh threw himself at her stomach. Because of this, she nearly couldn't catch him and fell over. Mother, I was so scared. The boy's hand tightens around her waist as if the very thought of letting go would mean losing his precious mother. I thought you wouldn't come back anymore and leave me alone here. All pitiful as he looks up, the boy had nothing left of that darkness from earlier, only the deep level of fear he felt. Did I scare you just now? Seeing the mirror all shattered on one side, she didn't need to guess what happened while she wasn't around. Tightly hugging the poor steam bun, she allows her own body's warmth to soothe that frightened heart. Don't worry, son, I won't leave you. Really? Perhaps the shock and possibility of losing Bai Yan was just too strong that the little guy actually showed distrust in the face. Look, didn't I come back as promised? Picking up the suspicious look coming from her own boy, the woman hurries to spread those arms out to show she's alive and well. Though the suspicious gaze didn't completely dissipate, but the explanation was enough to calm him enough to let go of that iron grip. Mother, you must take me along no matter where you go, okay? I am not a baggage. I can help and not make trouble too. Oh my baby, lifting the kid up to pat his back. The holy domain really isn't suitable for you, and not to mention I'm back, am I not? Don't worry, Xueqi. If one day mother here ends up in the underworld, then I will fight my way back to you. Believe me, okay? Making a stubborn shake of his little head, Xueqi clearly didn't agree to this idea. I won't let mother go to the underworld alone. Even if you do, I will also jump in there and force them to back off until we're home again. Okay. That comment literally melts her heart. Indeed, how could she refuse such a wonderful thing when her son's so sensible? In this life, the greatest choice she's ever made was to give birth to this little guy when all the world went against the idea. The mainland's change 3. Now that her son's been appeased, Bai Yan immediately focuses in on the aggrieved-looking Missy that's been looking at herself the entire time. Were you scared as well, Dragoni? Despite the gentle tone she used, it only had the counter effect and causes the last to cry out like a waterfall. At the same moment, Dragoni also threw herself at those arms, causing the tears to stain the clothes all over as well. Queen, you are the best person in the world to me. Better than those relatives of mine. I don't want anything to happen to you. Patting that weeping girl's back, a touch of aching pain grips Bai Yan's heart. I know, Dragoni, I know. Since the day I took you in, I have already thought of you as my daughter. Aside from me, Xueqi and Little Rice is also your family. If I'm not around in the future, then you must support each other, understand? Nodding in a seemingly understanding manner. Okay, I will wait for you to come back to us with His Highness like usual. Shifting her attention over to the 4 men now that she's done comforting the children, Bai Yan smiles first so she doesn't get yelled at. You rascal! Xianxia sounded almost grumpy and blaming. Would it hurt you to not scare the 3 of us for once? I'm sorry, Shifu. I know this is my fault. Bai Yan apologizes without a second delay. As the old saying goes, showing you're sorry always works when it comes to those whom cares about you. This was especially true when the entire situation was caused by her lack of forethought. Ache! Xianxia sighs helplessly at the woman's words. I just don't understand why you are so headstrong in that body of yours. Years ago you could have set up your own power by using the Holy Land's influence, but you never once reveal your identity and created all that you have today. I simply can't follow what goes that brain of yours. Shu Rong III also shoots a stare at his own student there. Xianxia is right. From now on you can't do such dangerous things again and stay right here in the Holy Land where it's safe. You have connections in all 3 powers anyway. There's no need for you to risk your life. Bai Yan muddles through with her agreement and gets a relieved sigh from the 3rd Shifu. As if I will let her get into danger again as long as she stays in the Holy Land? Shu Rong vows to himself inwardly. All right, I have to leave the Holy Land for a while. I estimate it will be a few days before I return. You! The 3rd elder nearly choked at his own breath, pointing at the woman accusingly. He's completely red in the face and unable to sputter a word. Didn't she just promise me? How can she forget so soon? Not giving any of these seniors a chance to respond, Bai Yan swiftly snatches up both kids and made a run for the outer perimeter of the forest. Jumping up and down out of frustration, Shu Rong stamps his feet repeatedly. Rascal, hold it right there. That only made the woman slip away even faster. In a flash, Bai Yan and her children were completely out of view this time instead of just running off. That's literally God's speed. Wanting to pursue the worrisome woman now that he's been had, Shu Rong was just about to move when Lord Chu Ran stopped him with a hand. 3rd elder, Bai Yan's path doesn't lie here. It lies in a world much further away. If we hinder her, it will only make things more difficult. Huffing a grunt at the Lord, I don't have any great ambitions, nor do I need my disciple to become the Lord and Master of existence. I only want her to live a safe and happy life. That is enough. Chu Ran smiles bitterly. Third Elder, did you forget Bai Yan is the only one to ever walk out of the holy domain unscathed? In the past 3 years, the girl has succeeded in so many things that I can no longer see through her strength. So the path that she wants to take isn't something you nor I can stop. The mainland's change for Qiu Shu Rong's was stiff as a rock as he showed a bittersweet face. I know a dragon cannot be stopped from taking flight. That truth isn't unknown to me, Lord. But how do you expect me to just accept it as is? I only have this one precious disciple. Would you be able to bear watching her struggle so desperately? 2 lines of murky tears slowly trickles down that old senior's cheek, indicating how sorrowful and sad he really felt. Patting his younger brother's shoulder, Ran Yi could easily relate to the third elder's emotion right now. But this was their student's choice and not for them to decide. Grandchefess. From out of the blue, a soft tender voice drifts over from the front. Looking up, Xianxia and his 2 brothers could see it was the boy returning to them from the front. Grandchefess, Mother is afraid you won't let her leave, so she sent me over instead. She wants me to pass on these alchemic recipes to you 3 for practice while she's not around. Rummaging through his storage bag, the little steam bun casually hands over a trove of treasure to these seniors. And Mother said all 3 grandchefess will always be her Sherfu regardless of where she runs off to. She will always cherish the time she spent here. After saying that, the boy did the most sensible thing and respectively gave them each a hug. Done with that, he also made sure to leave another message to the third elder. Third Grandshifu, Mother said she knows you care about her a lot, but don't worry, I will be with her. If Mother does anything risky and I don't approve, then I will smack her bottom for you, okay? Sighing at the sensible words coming out of this little kid's mouth, Qiu Shu Rong just couldn't help but rub that head in resignation. You child. Oh, forget it. Tell your mother I won't force her to stay. But if I ever learn of her risking her life again like this time, then she can forget about leaving the Holy Land. I will lock her up if I have to. Don't worry, third Grandshifu. I will supervise Mother in your stead. Nodding in agreement, Bai Xiachen was all in on this idea. He too has been scared out of his wits, so anything like the Holy Domain venture was out of the question from now on. Laughing at the child's poor attempt at being adult, the third elder definitely felt a bit better now. Wiping some of those tears away. Okay, your Grandshifu here will believe in you. If your mother is not being good, then you must come back and tell us. I got it. Spreading his hands high like an innocent child, it's hard to doubt the boy's promise when he's acting so lovable. Everyone, I will miss all of you. Making a goodbye gesture. He then trotted back for the outer perimeter where the 2 ladies should be waiting still. Moment later, the tiny figure too was out of sight from this group. Yan Yan's fortune isn't bad at all. She's blessed with such a good and sensible son. Lord Chu Ran makes a long sigh despite the smile on his face. I wonder when I will be able to hold a grandson of my own? But with Yi Feng's personality, I doubt his children will be as lively and lovely as Xiachen. As for Yi, just getting the thought of how his own daughter would make the Lord squirm. He still hasn't forgotten the time where the kid and troublesome lass went and lit the treasury vault ablaze. They really lost some nice stuff during that incident. Oh, forget that thought. Leaving my hope on Yi is out of the question. If she starts having children, then wouldn't she start making trouble with those kids too? In any case, it's best not to marry off the girl so soon. Yes, that's the plan. Thankfully, the princess herself didn't know what her old pa was thinking. Otherwise, she might just start crying. The mainland's change 5. Mother, where are we going now? Outside the Holy Land, Bai Xiachen stops his mother and asks using that childish voice. We're going back to the medicine sect first before going to the lawn house to see your great-grandfather. Old Lord Lan's love for her has always been true and from the heart. Not because of anything else. Besides, it's been a while since she saw that side of her family, so it's only natural she make a visit. After we meet everyone, we will then go look for your uncle. Staring up into the sky, Bai Yan's thought wanders off into the question of not knowing where her younger brother was right now. No matter how confident she makes others believe, Bia Xiao would always be someone she cares about and worry for. Medicine sect. Sitting on a stone stool located inside a pavilion, Bai Chongfeng places the black chess piece onto the board before laughing aloud. Senior Qi, that's my win again. Your condition isn't so good today, I guess I'm just too tired today. Once I rest for a bit, then I'll be fine. The one known as Senior Qi smiles awkwardly. Losing is losing. What excuses are you making? Smiling right up to the eye, Bai Chongfeng teases his peer. But since my mood is so nice today, I won't argue with you on that point. We can continue our matches tomorrow. Bang! Suddenly, loud smacking rumble knocks the two seniors off their idle state. Startled and alarmed, Bai Chongfeng immediately gets up. What happened? Chief, I'll go out and see. Senior Qi's expression grew serious as he arches his fist. No! Narrowing his eyes into a slit, the grandpa's expression was just as grave. I will go with you. This can't be normal if they dare to come find trouble. Having said that, he didn't waste any more time and blew forward for the main gate. Outside the medicine sect's main entranceway, a group of powerful masters are currently floating above in the air while the disciples of this major power cowered in fear against their might. By the time Bai Chongfeng made it to the scene, all he saw was the shivering display of his men and the intense pressure coming downwards from these strangers. It's obvious what's happening and it's not looking good. Who are you people, and why are you coming to my medicine sect? The one to answer was the middle-aged man leading the group. Arrogant in the face, this person made no attempt to hide his contempt for those down below. We're taking this place now, all of you are to get lost. Bai Chongfeng's expression promptly changed for the worse. These people want to occupy my home as soon as they come? Do they really think I'm so easily pushed over? This mountain is the foundation of my medicine sect. Of course we're not going to give it to you people. Now leave. Hands behind his back, the grandpa was crystal clear in his denial. Glowing with a shady light now, the middle-aged man clearly didn't take this answer well. We of the Wu House from the spirit realm will not be denied. If you won't give up this mountain, then be prepared to fight for it. No more words needed. He gradually raises a hand to signal those behind himself. In an instant, a circle of people now surrounds those from the medicine sect. Due to the incredibly strong aura coming off of each individual, not even Bai Chongfeng could remain unfazed. If I live, then my sect lives. If I die, then my sect dies. I, Bai Chongfeng, will not yield. Chief! Those disciples were greatly shocked by what they heard. One of the more outspoken younglings speaks up using a weak tone. Chief, we can still rebuild the sect if we lose the mountain. These people are extremely strong from the outlook, and just now Elder Tianlei didn't even last a single hit from one of them. Now he's seriously injured over there. The mainland's change, 6. There's only a handful of people within the medicine sect that could match up to Elder Tianlei's strength. Therefore it's not surprising some would begin to fear after seeing this senior be seriously injured with one blow. A wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. That's the sort of belief running through some of these disciples' head. I will not stop those who want to leave. Bai Chongfeng states this with grim determination. And the ancestors have left word that we cannot abandon this place no matter the reasoning. After hearing the stubbornness of this old grandfather, some of the more cowardly individuals who feared death immediately began to show themselves. Standing up, they started to run off towards the base of the mountain with much regard for their peers. If by